Welcome to TTBoy TV. We are here today with a very special gentleman. Maybe not as appreciated as he should be, and as recognized as he should be. He is the founder of Red Light District. He's a director, producer, company owner, distributor, and also Combat Zone Affiliate Films. So please welcome very special guest, good friend of mine, Dion Giarrusso.
Thank you.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. You?
Oh, good.
All right.
Thanks for coming.
My pleasure. For you, anything.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Welcome.
How's your day so far?
Not so bad. I woke up, went to the gym, and now I'm here. Good. I'm retired.
You retired?
Forced to retire.
Yeah. I always thought your last name was interesting, right? What does it derive from?
My father, Giarrusso. My dad's from, his family's from Italy, Napoli. They came, my grandmother came with my grandfather from Napoli to Rhode Island, and that's where they lived. And then they eventually moved to California. And my mom's Jewish. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. So that's who I am.
That's a cool name, I think.
Yeah,
Giarrusso.
Yeah, right. I'm good with it. I'm good with it.
I like it. It's Italian.
Yeah, especially when they leave one R out. There's two R's and two S's.
Oh, yeah. The two S's might fool me.
Yeah, the two R's you missed out on.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Yeah, it's all right.
Oops.
I spell TTBoy with two T's.
So we know each other for a long time.
Yes, sir.
Right? I remember the first time we met.
Yes.
Well, kind of on the phone the first time we met. You said, hey, I got a scene for you, but I said, okay. You said, it's $500. I said, sorry, Charlie, I got it,
700, I think.
No, it's 500 you said first, right?
Uh-huh.
And then you said, that's all I got. I said, no, I can't do that. That's about 1998, or I think.
Correct.
98. And I said, no, and then you called back a month later. I said, all right, we got 700 for you.
Yes.
So then I went to work for you.
Correct. You earned the 700. and then the rest was history.
Yeah, I mean, that's when we met. You have a special way about you.
Oh, thank you. You too. It was good. We filmed over there at the Hilton on Sepulveda and Ventura, right?
On Ventura, right? The Radisson or the
Radisson. The name changes so much.
Yeah, it's changed a few times. Was it the Hilton then?
Yeah, I think Ramada, Hilton, the two girls, Raquel Devine.
Raquel Devine.
And her best friend at the time, the brown-haired girl. What was her name?
I don't even know.
She was Mike Stefano's wife or girlfriend for a while.
Really?
Yeah. Oh. I remember you tearing down the pictures on the wall.
Yeah?
But you definitely satisfied both of them.
No, they were.
And from that day on, I couldn't produce a movie without you in it.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Oh, thank you. That's a nice compliment.
You're welcome. It's the truth.
Way back, man. That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
So let's go way back, even farther than that. Mm-hmm. I want to get to the nitty gritty. I want the people to know, the substance, what made Dion Giarrusso. A very successful businessman, intelligent, good guy. When and where were you born?
I was born in California in the San Fernando Valley, Van Nuys, and we moved to New York until I was 10, because my mom was originally from Brooklyn.
What year was that you were born?
I was born in 1961.
61.
And we went to New York, and then we moved back to California. I think I was like 10. And
how was New York?
I don't remember any of it. I don't know. I don't remember anything until, I don't know, maybe I'm 10 or 11. I don't remember nothing or not living in New York. It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
I don't remember anything from before I was 10.
Wow. So you and your father and mother?
My mom had 3 kids with my dad. They had 3 kids by the time she was 18, and no, they didn't last. They were young. She was 16 when she had me, and single mom, a lot of different boyfriends, a lot of different stepdads, a lot of different schools, a lot of different places we lived, moving all the time. my mom was a kid, when she had us. She didn't really know how can you be a mother at 16 years old, right? Tough one. So always moving, apartment to apartment, barely making it, food stamps, welfare, everything. Whatever.
Welfare, huh?
Yeah, everything. Whatever it took to survive. And that's how it all started.
Well, what part of New York did you go to? Just curious about that.
My mom's from Coney Island, Brooklyn.
Okay, so Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. And my dad was from Rhode Island, but he was already, when they separated, he went up to San Francisco. He lived in the Bay Area.
So, I mean, the food stamps, no money, and your father was making money, he wasn't sending any money?
He was young, wild, trying to get his life together, driving trucks cross country in the trucking business. And I think for a while we weren't even in touch with him. I don't think my mom wanted us to see him, I don't know what was going on. But I just mainly remember my mom growing up and my grandfather and grandmother on my mother's side, and on the Jewish side, actually. And we got by, Actually, I think we were happier then than when we made it. All my brothers and sisters, we all got along, and everybody was close. And it seems like since the money came, we separated. It's kind of weird what happens.
So, I mean, you're missing your father. Was that how'd that make you feel without a father? You knew he was there, but he wasn't there.
I had friends I grew up with, that all their fathers were there, and they were blessed to have mother and father. I had a mother, had a grandfather, different men in my mother's life. Some were drug addicts, some were alcoholics, some were physical, but my mom was, she was a little difficult, but I don't think anybody deserves to get their hands put on them. I was a little bigger than most. I was a football player, into playing football. I was strong, worked out, and into martial arts and stuff. And let's just say I smacked a few boyfriends around. And she might have deserved what she got, but ultimately you shouldn't be, putting your hands on anybody, especially a woman. But, that was the story of my life. I was basically the father of my brothers and sisters, and I try to keep them all on track. And I did the best I can, but I didn't have any guidance. I ran wild, unbelievable football player, had football scholarships.
To where?
You name it, University of Miami, USC, BYU, the list goes on and on.
What position did you play?
I was a linebacker. But reality is I didn't know how valuable a scholarship was. I didn't understand education, how important it was. So instead of doing that track, I basically,
So were you good in school?
No. Huh? I ran wild. I didn't go to school. I went there, but I didn't show up. I was there, but I wasn't there. I didn't put my work in. I didn't do. I just went there to get by, and that's all I did. And unfortunately, it comes back and haunts you in life. So
were you popular in school?
Yeah, I was football captain. I was at homecoming.
Homecoming king?
No, the girl, me and the girl didn't win, but I don't think I was the perfect role model for the school to be the homecoming.
Why? You're a tough guy, bad guy?
Maybe.
Ass kicker, what?
I think the guys that won and the guy and the girl won, they deserved it. I think one went on to be a lawyer and the other one was a doctor. And I think they represented the school good. I was happy for them. I might have won the popular vote, though. Who knows?
Yeah?
Yeah.
People love you?
I was lovable because I wasn't a bully. I was a nice guy, Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, you told me before that some people or one person or maybe others would hire you to be a bodyguard sometimes in school?
I don't want to name his name, and unfortunately he's not with us anymore. Family was in the poultry business. He basically actually just hung himself a few weeks ago. Comes from a very wealthy family and very abrasive guy, and he couldn't go to school where he lived over the hill in West LA, and he came to the Valley and to go to school where I went. And his dad kind of tracked me down and basically told me that his son was had a big mouth and he's abrasive, and but he's my son and I love him and I need somebody to watch over him. And some of the other kids that go to your school that live by us recommended that you would probably watch over him a little bit. So I basically watched over their son. Of course, I was broke, living in apartments, and he made me a deal. He took me to all the Raider games back when the Raiders were in L.A., and he fed me. That was a pretty good deal for a guy that liked to eat, you know what I mean? And to this day, up until a couple of weeks ago when he, took his life, we were very close. I was very close to the whole family. But I was never a bully, I was just bigger and stronger than most people,
How big were you in school? Like, say, 16 years old? Let's say 15, because that's better.
6 foot, 220 pounds. Bench press, 445 pounds.
15?
Yeah, stronger than any varsity, any senior in high school, stronger than the football coaches. Big, strong guy,
That's a great.
Never grew. I never got taller, but yeah.
6 foot tall is big enough.
Big, strong, and
so you did martial arts?
Martial arts, yeah.
Tell me about that. Where you trained and what did you take?
I like football, and I love playing basketball, and to stay in shape, I would play basketball. And I was drawn to the karate, and karate took you into like kickboxing, and reality was I'm big, strong, but I'm really not tough. I really don't like pain. So kickboxing didn't work out for me, kicking you in the legs and punching you in the face. I don't really like that. That's not something I care about. But karate, yeah, I was good at, wasn't as violent, and you get limber from it, and you can point fight, but you're wearing headgear and you're wearing gloves, and it was good. It worked good for me, and I appreciate it. But I did have a certain different respect for the kickboxers, because these poor guys get kicked in the legs. They get nasty stuff done to them. But I'm not that guy. I don't like pain, and I don't want to get hit like that.
Yeah, it's hard on your body.
Hard on your body, and I'm just not good with pain, And I'm big and strong, but some people think I'm a tough guy. But you know what? I think most tough guys are either dead or in prison, in my opinion. I don't want to be a tough guy.
Especially today.
Today, exactly.
You can't be a tough guy today. You can't say anything.
You can't say anything. And with social media and this internet and the computers, they watch everything you do. But I like freedom. If you try to be a tough guy, you're going to prison, and that's not a place I want to be.
I don't even think you stick up for yourself these days.
I'm scared to stick up for myself these days, It's scary times.
But back then, it was a piece of cake.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, you get in a fight with somebody, shake hands when you're done. And if cops come, the cops say, what happened? And you tell them the story, and if it makes sense to the cop, he lets you go. Today, they just lock you up and don't even ask questions.
Oh, yeah, it's unbelievable.
Cops can't do their jobs either. The people, it's just nuts.
Yeah, I remember you told me a story where there was some guy talking shit to you or something, and you can't remember, older guy, and you threw him in the bushes or something. Tell me about that. How old were you?
I was 16. Oh, I remember that story I told you. When I was 16, I had a Trans Am, little Smokey the Bandit.
I love it.
Yeah, I had the red one, like the Hooper. Remember they had the other show, Hooper?
Uh-huh.
My grandfather bought it for me, and he was an interesting character. And he was in the clothing business, and he actually bought the Trans Am for me. And all my friends had Trans Ams and stuff. One day I was driving down Coldwater Canyon in the Trans Am, and the T-tops were off, and windows were down, and some older guy, I might have cut him off by accident, and he pulled next to me, and just real nasty, F you, everything, and this and that, and pull over. I said, you know what, man, it ain't worth it. You don't want to pull over. And he kept talking shit, and he said, pull over. So finally, I pulled over on Whitsett in Ventura. There's a golf range there, like over there on, I forget the name of it. And I got out of my car, and he came at me with a tennis racket. And he whacked me in the face with the racket. I ended up smacking this guy around. I picked him up and basically windmilled him and threw him in the bushes and left him there for dead.
He was fucked. He was messed up.
Yeah, I smacked him around a little bit. And
a couple punches, kicks, what?
No, well, maybe a slap. I don't even think I had to punch this guy. He was older, but he was just a loud mouth. And I got my car and left. But like a couple of weeks later, we lived in an apartment on Coldwater Canyon, one of the many apartments on Coldwater Canyon. I'm in the house with my mom, and LAPD came, and 2 LAPD officers, and I'm sitting there, and they're knocking on the door, and my mom invited him in. They said, "What are you here for?" And they said, "Well, your husband got in a altercation with this guy, and he beat him up pretty bad and left him in the bushes over at this golf range." And he says, and the police officer said to my mom, his name's Dion, he drives a Trans Am and all that, and because the car was registered. I mean, we got the guy, after he got thrown in the bushes, he got his license plate and called LAPD. So we have to follow up on it. And my mom said, "Look, officers, it's not my husband, it's my son. He's right there. He's Dion, and he's 16 years old." And the cop said, "What?" And my mom said, "Yeah, he's 16 years old. He was just defending himself." The cops looked at me, looked at my mom, and said, "I'm sorry for wasting your time," and left. And that's how that went down. And that was beautiful, how cops used to think like that. And unfortunately, they can't do that.
Those are the great days.
Yeah, great days.
I have a quick story because, just to reflect on that one and relate. I had this big guy chase me down the Moore Park, 6'3" or 6'4", because he thought I cut him off, which I cut him off about 400 feet away from him, which isn't much of a cutoff, right? And I weighed 139 pounds then. I was sick, but I was boxing. And the guy jumped out, and I smashed him in pieces. His whole face fell off, and his bones everywhere coming out of his face. And I chased him around the car trying to get him some more. Anyways, finally he wouldn't come near me, and I took off. He called the cops, and I went in there and talked to the LAPD over there in Van Nuys. Yep. And I told him, he goes, "You know what? That guy's an asshole." He said, "Don't worry about it."
I love it.
Right? It was like, yeah, the guy wanted to get me, but he couldn't. But I defended myself, and he was 6'3", 6'4", 230, 40 pounds, whatever. And
so nice when it was just the right thing. So
you're the biggest guy or the strongest guy in the football team?
Yeah.
Are you the strongest? So you're the strongest guy in the school?
Oh, yeah. I'm stronger than all the high school kids when I'm in junior high.
Really? Yeah. In junior high?
Strongest bench press, not squats. I wasn't really a big squatter, and I wasn't real big on military, but I was really strong with the bench press. I just was built for it, And
what were you benching in junior high?
Over 400 pounds.
In junior high school?
9th grade, yes.
Oh, that was the 7th, 8th, 9th back then?
Back then, correct.
Okay.
And 10th grade was your first year of high school.
So 400 pounds in 9th grade. So you were 15 or 14?
I was 16 in 10th grade, so...
15?
Yeah, 15. I was strong.
Yeah, so...
I couldn't even play Pop Warner football because I was always too big and too heavy.
You're smashing them?
Yeah, I was just too big and too heavy. And I like that they go by the weight because it's a dangerous sport.
Yeah.
I could never play. Even when I dieted, my bones weighed more than these kids weighed. True story.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So
you eat with me a lot. You know I like to eat.
Yeah.
I still like to eat.
But I mean, we eat about the same amount of food, right?
I eat more than you, and you're a little more careful on the bread and stuff, on the carbs. And I'm Italian and Jewish. I got both sides of carbs.
I love bread, man.
Wow. You're a little more disciplined than me, and that's good. I wish I was a little more disciplined with it, but getting older, you got to be careful with the food.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm a father, so I have to try to stay around. But
you so how did it feel like being the kind of the baddest guy? Were you the toughest guy in school?
I think I was very well spoken, and I think my mouth kind of protected me more than really. I think I was one of those guys that I wasn't scared, and people get terrified when you're not scared, and you don't show weakness. And I won many fights without even fighting, you know what I mean? Just being confident, and because I didn't like fighting. Who likes to fight? I mean, some people like to fight, but I don't want to if you get hit in the face once, but you still win. That guy called the cops on me with the tennis racket, I didn't win because I beat him up. He bloodied my whole face with that tennis racket. So, no winners, We watched many fights together. We've seen both guys bloody, and one guy ends up winning, but the guy that won, he got beat up a lot of times.
Yeah, I think it's that old primitive manhood
I get it.
in the blood, right? I mean, that's what.
But yeah, a lot of people. I'm not that guy, you know. I'm just so happen to be bigger and stronger than most. I was a nice guy, and you know, and I didn't like bullies. And you're not as big as me, so you're fighting more than me because people always want to fight you because you're an easier target than me. My size kept me out of trouble, and you know, and that makes you not really fight much. I'm more scared of the little guys than the big guys. The big guys never have to fight.
Were there any guys in your school that were tough?
I'm sure many of them, but I was probably friendly with most. I was friendly with most. I was well liked, you know. I wasn't a bully or a punk.
You're a nice guy, so what the hell, right?
Yeah, I prefer being nice. Don't cost money to be nice.
Who wants to mess with you and you're nice, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah. I think first day of school, and I might have let it be known. I found out who the toughest guy was, and we got it straight. And then ever since, I was left alone.
You do that right away? You knew what to do?
Yes.
That's great. So you go right up to him and let me tell you something?
Just leave me alone. I'll leave you alone. You know.
What the guys, would they ever want to say, oh yeah, let's see, or what?
Well, no, not really, because when they're in ninth grade, it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't have money, we still went to the best schools. And,
I see.
And not being racist, but white kids aren't tough. I'm sorry, they're not. They're easy to. I mean, there's tough white guys, I'm sure, in the East Coast and other places. But when you're in Sherman Oaks and Encino, those kids aren't tough. They're nice. They're nice kids. People I want to be around. I prefer them. They're not trying to fight.
Right. The people in the hoods, Sylmar or Pacoima, or
parts of North Hollywood, even parts of Van Nuys. But when you're prime Sherman Oaks, them kids are nice kids.
Yeah.
And no one wants to fight.
Yeah, I mean, my school, they were fighting all day long.
I'm sure.
A lot of the schools I went to, it was crazy. I was in Tahunga.
Yeah.
And they were stabbing people in grammar school.
Yeah. I was one of those guys they didn't want to fight with, so they left me alone. I left them alone. I hate
cool.
bullies. If someone was being bullied, I always have something to say.
Oh, that's nice. Well, I mean, so you're like a protector.
I prefer that. Yeah, that'd be good.
So you were doing the karate, but didn't you say you were with Superfoot Bill Wallace or something like that? Training with him or something?
Well, we used to have a fight night on Tuesday nights, and all the guys like Superfoot Wallace and Don Wilson and like Benny Akitas, and my friend was Benny's a protege, so I knew Benny through him. And they all would fight on Sherman Oaks Karate on Tuesday nights. And I was so big, I wasn't even a black belt. They just needed a heavyweight to be on their fighting team, and they picked me because they didn't have anybody else. I'm fighting all these black belts all over the world, and I'm basically just a purple belt, But by the time they got to me, these guys were so far ahead in points, it didn't really matter. But kickboxing helped a lot,
So you did a little bit of kickboxing?
Yeah, but I didn't like the...
Shin against shin?
I didn't like getting kicked in the legs, and those guys are tough. I don't want to fight UFC guys. I don't want to fight those kickboxers. I'd rather keep my marbles.
Well, the boxing really scrambles your brain, I think.
Oh, you see it. Another guy just died recently.
Yeah, it's terrible. I had seen this. Well, I read this. Louis L'Amour was a famous old Western writer, right? Remember him?
Oh, yeah.
You might have read a book or two of his.
Oh, definitely.
So I read his autobiography, his last book before he died, and he said, because he had 50 pro fights. Mm-hmm. And he said, listen, the gloves, they think it's safer. I'm pretty sure this is what he wrote, He said they think it's safer, but it's actually 10 to 12 more ounces of weight hitting you.
Right.
So, anything heavy that hits you is part of physics is going to be more dangerous.
Correct.
So, it doesn't cut you. So the gloves came around, I think, so you won't get cut. You could last longer, but it might hurt you more.
Correct.
What do you think so?
Maybe.
I mean, it seems strange, but it seems,
right,
like a good argumentable point.
I agree.
Argumentative point, excuse me.
I agree.
Anyway, so, yeah. So, that must have been kind of fun. So, Bill Wallace, you were sparring Bill Wallace?
Yeah, he was good. He had that one really good leg. I think he injured the other one. We spent a lot of time with him. We used to go to, because he was from Florida, I think, or somewhere in the South. And we'd just go out to Westwood, hang out with him, and go eat. He loved hamburgers. Oh, yeah? Really good guy. Really good at what he did. And real fun to be with. He was older than us, and definitely a legend in that sport, full contact at the time. He's one of the best guys.
Wasn't he in Enter the Dragon,
Yeah,
right?
I think he was in a lot of movies.
Bruce Lee, Enter the Dragon.
Don Wilson did a lot of movies. Benny did movies, and a lot of those guys did movies.
Who's the most dangerous of those guys you think that you wouldn't want to run up against?
Definitely for his size, I would say like Benny Kiedis was amazing. Howard Jackson was amazing. Wallace was amazing for his size and his weight. He was heavier than them. Don Wilson was good. And I love the BKF guys, like the Black Karate Federation guys, like Dexter Brooks and Alvin Prater. These guys were amazing. Alvin Prater was just amazing, and a guy named Barry Gordon. They were the best point fighters in the world. But like Alvin Prater was a PKA champion. He was kickboxing world champion, like Benny Kiedis, all over the world. I loved the way the black fighters fought. They were real athletic, fast, and but Benny is probably the most dangerous because he came from the San Fernando, tough guy, gangbanging his whole life. He's born again Christian now, but he grew up rough, and then so did Alvin. The Crips and Bloods in South Central LA, and those were the karate days, and I have to give that up at some point. You got to go get a job and plan a future.
But Benny was like a kickboxer too, right?
Benny was a kickboxing champion of the world. He was a legend, one of the, he definitely the best of his time. So was Howard Jackson. Guys like that were really good. Chuck Norris too. That dude was good. Wasn't a kickboxer, but he was tough. Very good.
Nice kicks. He was a good kicker.
And very tough. A lot of people don't give him credit because he's a blonde-haired actor. That guy's a tough guy.
Yeah. He was serious, huh?
Serious. That's where I started.
Yeah.
Under him and Chuck Norris and Pat Johnson, Sherman Oaks Karate, it's Tung Sido, Korean karate. They were amazing.
Did that stuff help you in the streets?
Oh yeah. Definitely. You get limber. You can kick people in spots that they're not likely to think a big guy's going to do, and it all adds up. And hopefully you don't have to go that route, but it's there to help.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're a big guy, so you can hurt somebody badly.
Yeah,
What'd you think of the jiu-jitsu? You were talking about fighting. You just want to.
When I was growing up, we never heard of jiu-jitsu. Towards the end, like when I was getting out of the martial arts and trying to go make a living and feed myself, we heard about jiu-jitsu, the Gracies. We heard about them. They were teaching this art in like garages. They first came here from Brazil, but I really never knew much about it. And then once the UFC came around, you start hearing a lot about it. And then I have a son now, and I got him into jiu-jitsu, and so I got real knowledgeable in it. I think, bar none, it's jiu-jitsu and like good wrestling probably is some of the best stuff to have knowledge on, because hopefully you won't fight, but if you do fight, 99% of the time you're going to end up on the ground, because most people that fight don't know how to fight because they have big mouths. But people I come across that know how to fight shut their mouth and they're respectful, so they're not going to fight. So most of the time, if you get in a fight, you're going to fight with somebody that's not a fighter. So where do you end up? On the ground. And the ground is not a great place to end up on with jiu-jitsu guys or wrestlers, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know better than I do. You're a jiu-jitsu guy.
Yeah, a little bit. I just went back to class, and
I'm proud of you. Good boy.
And I'm not doing that good.
Well, we're getting a little older, and things don't heal like they used to, and the stamina's a little different, right?
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's all right. This is nature. When
did you start noticing the girls? In grammar school or junior high school?
My first girlfriend, I was 16. Of course, you notice them, and I liked girls in junior high, but I liked them, but I had my first girlfriend was like when I was 16. I was kind of a late bloomer.
Oh.
She was way more advanced than me. I remember touching her in that certain spot, scared the hell out of me. I don't know what the hell is this thing?
Really?
Yeah.
At 16?
16.
Wow.
I was nervous, but she taught me good.
Really? So she schooled you?
Oh, she was wonderful. And unfortunately, all my friends got to try it too. So you know.
Oh, really? That's
She liked my friends too, and that didn't work out well. But I love her, still do. I wish her the best, you know.
Yeah.
She's doing good. I heard she's actually a producer now.
wow, really?
Yeah, mainstream, big time. Nice girl. Just unfortunately, she liked all the other guys too.
So she was, yeah.
Hey,
Well,
she's horny. What can I tell you?
yeah. How long did you stay with her?
We were together like 3-4 years. You know, she was my first, but I wasn't her first, so I'll never forget her.
3 or 4 years?
Oh yeah, all
Wow.
through high school. She was a beautiful girl, and was
Wow.
a giver. Was a giver.
Wow.
She wasn't just a beautiful girl. She gave. You know, she would give to you. She gave her heart to you, and her parents were wealthy, so she financially helped me always because I didn't have money, but she loved me, and even when she'd sleep with my friends, she loved me, and even after, when I said I couldn't do it anymore, she chased after me for many, many years, and I just couldn't get over knowing that some of my friends slept with my girlfriend.
How would you find out?
People would tell me. You know how people tell. That people were scared of me, and they were afraid if they knew and didn't tell me. I beat up many guys over her.
You did?
Oh, yes, many times.
How many you think? 5, 10?
At least 5.
That's 5?
Yeah. And then they get drunk and they get brave, the people, you know, and you want to have respect because it takes 2 to tango. But then I was a club guy. I was in the club business forever, and I'm out in the clubs every night. And then, you know, people get drunk and say, you know, they got something to say about you saying something about them being with your girlfriend, and I'm like, dude, you're drunk. You really are getting brave because of the alcohol, and it doesn't work out well for him. But whatever, I loved her. She was great.
Yeah.
It was unfortunately I was too young to know what to do with that. You know, I mean, like I didn't know how to. You know, she was like a woman. She had a body like unbelievable, and she was more advanced than me, and I probably didn't fulfill her because I didn't know how to, you know. But I learned from her.
Oh, man, I'll give you an example. I had a girlfriend around the same age.
Mm-hmm.
I fulfilled her like 4 or 5 hours a day sometimes.
I love it.
Right? But she still was curious.
Correct.
So I don't think there's anything you could have done.
Yeah, they're young and they're curious, and
Yeah.
nothing wrong with it. And actually, if I had to do it over again, I probably would have understood. I maybe would have asked her to bring some of her friends home for me. But, you know, we're young. We're boys. We're more immature. They're more mature than us. And,
Yeah, some of them.
yeah.
That's what they say.
You know, it was all good. I wish I knew I wish I knew then what I know now. But, you know, this is hindsight. This is life. And this is,
Yeah.
I am blessed. I'm here. I'm alive. I'm not dead. I'm not in prison. And I'm grateful for where I'm at today.
So when did you start, because you grew up kind of, so the household, you know, the economic status of the household, you said was pretty rough.
Correct.
You know, I mean, because food stamps, I mean, does that feeling get you pissed off, or you just don't even notice it? Or
You know, moving in the middle of the night, you know, all my friends having dads, and they all living in houses, and I'm in an apartment. And I didn't hate people for being rich and having more money than me. That, as you see today, a lot of people hate the rich because, you know, they just want to hate them because they have more than they do instead of doing something about it. I was always one of those guys that said, you know what, they're rich and I'm not, but how do I get like them? And I would take the knowledge in, and a lot of them were, you know, good sperm, come from good families, and they're rich because of their mommy and daddy. I'm blessed because I didn't have that, and I got to make money on my own, and I got to understand how to do it. You know, a lot of people today that never had to work for it, had it, really never appreciated it. I appreciated it, and but I didn't hate rich people. I learned from them.
but did it make you aggressive sometimes?
It made me real aggressive. My girlfriend Debbie, you know, that I was with for 3 years, her dad and mom had a Rolls Royce.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Those old 70-something Rolls Royces,
Silver Cloud or something like that?
Right, all two-toned. And they let us drive it the dad let me drive that Rolls Royce to the prom. And
Wow, that's cool.
when I drove that thing, I knew I wanted to be successful. And,
Really?
you know, they lived in Toluca Lake, right on the lake, and we ate the best meals, and they brought me in like a son. And I never wanted to go back. That's what got me in trouble later on in life. But I wasn't patient, and I wanted that fast money, and you know.
So yeah, I know that we have a great story here about that, you know.
Yeah.
And so I want to know, What was your first job?
I went to high school in Van Nuys, a high school called Grant High School in Coldwater Canyon in Oxnard. I actually worked at Golfland on Sepulveda in Magnolia. It was, that miniature golf place over there, that big miniature golf place. I would go to school.
On Sepulveda?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I worked there at night. I used to work at a 76 gas station on Whitsett in Burbank. I delivered pizza.
So first it was the miniature golf?
Yeah, miniature golf was my very first job. And then while I'm going to school, and then I worked at a gas station on Burbank and Whitsett after school. And then I delivered pizza for a little bit. And I vaguely remember that. I remember delivering pizza at night in the rain. You know how people used to order pizza and you bring it to their house. And
Did you ever get the lady or the pizza girl? You're the pizza guy?
I was never that lucky. But yeah, that's what I did. And I went to high school and I played football. I didn't, do my scholarship thing. But the first thing my first real job was I used to sell, I tried selling clothes. I worked for a clothing company downtown LA. I was a sales rep and did that for a while. That was I should have stuck with it. That's my problem. I never stuck with anything. And you learn when you find something today, if you stick with it, it seems to pan out. But a lot of times I wasn't patient. So I went from job to job. Instead of taking my football scholarship, I went out and hustled.
So you knew you wanted money.
I knew I wanted
And how did you go about, how did you make your way to figure out your next step into the big money,
I stopped doing the clothing business, and then my father was in the trucking business, and my best friend at the time was in the trucking business, and I decided that I'm gonna own all these trucks one day. Something about diesel trucks I was attracted to.
Peterbilt, Kenworths?
Peterbilts, Kenworths, Freightliners. I would haul produce to the East Coast. I bought my first truck when I was 21 years old.
How'd you do that?
I got together 10 grand from saving, from working. I had 10 grand, and
really?
I ended up buying a truck. I ended up putting a down payment on it.
How old were you?
I was 21.
21.
21.
Right.
So I made my first trip back east in a truck with my good friend's brother. We went on the truck together, and
so you had the tractor and you just grabbed the trailer?
I bought a truck and a trailer, so I didn't have to pay the broker for the trailer fees.
Wow.
All I had to do was pay the broker for the load. I learned real quick I didn't like it. Once I got in the truck to driving cross country, it was disgusting.
Your ass was sore.
I couldn't stand it. The people, the ignorance, and it's stupid. And there's really no money in it. Only people who really make money are the brokers and the guys that own the companies. And again, if I would have stuck with that, I probably would have owned 1 million trucks today. But again, I didn't stick with that. I did that for 2 trips, and then
Well, these trips were all the way East Coast, you said?
Boston and one time I went to Florida and back, and one other time went to Florida, then up to Boston, Chelsea Produce Market, and then up to New York. We hauled mops and buckets back and going. We'd always haul produce, and
It's a long drive.
I did it twice, and I said I can't do this shit, and it didn't work out well for me. So
So you had a tractor and a trailer, and what'd you do with it?
I sold it to my friend's dad's company. They raped me. Young guy just took my truck from me basically because I didn't know what I was doing. But I learned from that, and so I got out of the trucking business. And then
And what'd you do?
I decided I was going to go in the nightclub business. I was going out at night with all my buddies. We weren't going to school. We were going out every night and sleeping all day, and we ended up promoting nightclubs where we would make these invitations, and we'd pass them out to all the girls. Girls get in free with the invitation. Guys would pay $5. I cut a deal with a big time group at the time, music group at the time. I don't know if you want me to mention who they were.
Sure.
The Gap Band. You remember the Gap Band?
Oh, yeah.
There was a producer guy named Lonnie Simmons who owned the Gap Band, and he owned Total Experience, who distributed all the Gap Band music. And I went into their club one night. We found a club. Me and my friend Dale found this club on Doheny and Wilshire next to the Writers Guild that was dead. And we went in there, and we first met the manager. His name was Mario. And we said, we want to, make a deal with it. We want to get the money at the door, and you get the money at the bar. And they said, I go, your club's dead anyways. Why not take a chance? You know what I mean? Kind of like when Trump said to the black people, things aren't going well for you now. Might as well take a chance, right? Mm-hmm. And so they said, we'll take a chance, but you're going to have to guarantee a certain amount of money at the bar. And I said, that's a deal. So we guaranteed him $2,500 a night at the bar. And in a nutshell, that lasted almost 5 years. Here I am making like $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a weekend, working 6 hours a night, passing out invitations at the beach all during the day. And how the word of mouth spreads, and everybody just knew to come to our club, and we made it work. And I'm making like $10,000 a month back then, sleeping all day and staying out all night. And
all the girls at the clubs,
and all my friends were like Chippendale dancer, pretty boys. So all the girls liked them, and the girl thing was beautiful. But,
a lot of girls,
a lot of famous girls, a lot of every kind of girl. We had good times, but unfortunately, like any other club in Beverly Hills or in Hollywood or any, fast city, they die. People want something new, they try something else. So it all basically came to an end, and here I am, no knowledge, no business skills, been hustling. Before you know it, I'm in my 20s, 23, 24 years old. And that led me to my next adventure, and that's where I'm at.
What was that?
I, over the years of being in the nightclub business, which was in the 80s, and everybody knows the 80s was a big time for cocaine. Cocaine was a big thing in the 80s. Everybody did cocaine. It wasn't like it wasn't so bad like it is now. Back then, you were able to snort cocaine because it was washed with ether instead of gasoline or kerosene. So during my club night days, I never smoked, drank, did drugs. It was just something I didn't like. I like food and I like girls. I always had a clear head. And over the years, I met all the Colombians and I met all the buyers. I met all the big black dope dealers and all the white dope dealers. And I knew how to buy and I knew how to sell. I had the connections. And the Colombians would always tell me, anytime you need something, just let me know, because I was well liked. I said, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be in that business. That's not for me, But one thing led to another. When the club started dying and the money wasn't coming in, and you're sleeping till 1 o'clock in the afternoon, you're going to bed at 6 in the morning, going to Canter's Deli after the clubs. It's a lifestyle. You got all these famous actors coming to your club. You're riding Harleys with all these famous people.
You told me you used to ride with some. Yeah,
Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mickey Rourke, Charlie Sexton, all these soap opera stars, and it was a facade. It was beautiful. It was, but how do you keep up with these kind of people? Mickey Rourke's and these guys making crazy money.
They were cool guys.
Great guys. Arnold was great. Mickey was great, and we call it the cocaine 80s. And one thing led to another. I said, I'm gonna try this cocaine thing, and which I should have never done. But hindsight's a bitch, and I ended up selling my first kilo to a guy for $41,000, and I bought it for $38,000. And I didn't have the $38,000 to go buy it, so the guy I was selling it to was hard up and trusted me. I said, "Give me the 41 grand. I'll go pick it up, and I'll bring you back what you need." And I took his 41 grand. I took 3,000 out of it and put it in my pocket. And it was the fastest $3,000 I ever made. I went over to La Cienega to this Colombian guy, and he had at the time had a phone store on La Cienega. He had the AMGs back then, the old Mercedes, big white one from from like Miami Vice, and he had the Mercedes and BMW. Everything was white. Remember the big AMG wheels with the Centrons and all those? Yeah. So that's how it went down. I bought the first kilo, took it to my guy that gave me $41,000. I kept my 3, and I gave him his kilo, and I think about a week later, I got a call from my friend that had bought it, and I asked him, I go, "What's up?" When he called me, and he said, "Hey, what you gave me was unbelievable. It was the best stuff I ever had. Can you get me more of that?" And as time went on, I would just get him like a kilo a week, and I was making like $3 grand a week. selling this one guy a kilo, and it was plenty for me. $3,000 in the '80s was a lot of money. So here I am, still hanging out in the clubs, chasing the girls and hanging with my boys and having fun, and meeting more people, and when you could buy, in life. When you're in business, the money's always made. I always thought the money was made in the buy, not the sell. If you buy something right, you can always sell it. If you buy it wrong, you're not going to be able to sell it. So I always was able to get the cocaine for the best price because I knew the biggest people. I was just fortunate enough they were coming to my nightclub.
The Colombians.
And one thing led to another, and I met so many people. You go into all the clubs like Tramps, Vertigo, Voila in Beverly Hills, in the Beverly Center, going downtown. You meet everybody, and then unfortunately you're too young to understand what's really going on, and instead of staying humble and being quiet, you're loud. You got pagers and phones that are as big as this damn table, and it just, before I knew it, I got over my head, and I went from buying 1 kilo and then breaking up kilos to selling 200 kilos a week.
200 a week.
Yes.
So that's 1 key is going for 40, 200s.
Well, back then it all when I first bought it, it was 38,000. I sold it for 41. It was as low as, at the end when I got in trouble, I was paying 10,000 a kilo. But I had the biggest distributors of it from LA, South Central, that were taking it to Detroit. I don't want to mention his name. I used to sell to him, and
one guy that's locked up right now?
Locked up for life. And not for cocaine, for, I don't know if it was murder or some kind of conspiracy. I would pay 10,000 a kilo, and I'd sell it to these guys for 14, and they'd buy 100 a week for me. Do that math. That's 400,000 a week for doing nothing, for basically just directing traffic.
$400,000 a week.
No problem.
That's 1.6 a month.
I was 25 years old.
And I mean,
in the 80s.
In the 80s, that's, so it's like
this is when,
$3 million now, right?
Oh, it's crazy money. This is when the crack first came out, because the government was so hard on the ether, and they were tracking ether to Colombia. They were putting putting tracking devices in these big ether containers. When the Colombians would buy ether, the big like the 50-gallon drums of ether in America, the DEA was smart. They were tracking these drums where they were going, and they were ended up in like Medellin or Cali in Colombia, in the out in the middle of nowhere, where they would process the cocoa leaves, and so the Colombians were tired of paying the $5,000 for these drums of ether, so they decided they were going to start washing cocaine with kerosene and gasoline. So instead of spending $5,000 for a drum, you're spending now $50 or $500 for a drum of gasoline or kerosene. But unfortunately, people can't snort gasoline or kerosene, so they start smoking cocaine. So this is where crack basically came from.
Is that where it came from? Because I had heard theories that it was invented because it gets used so much faster. So they came up with the idea so they could get it, used more often and make more money.
Well, maybe that's another theory, but I'm telling you, I had a pipeline directly into Medellin, Colombia, and I knew the biggest people in Medellin. They loved me because I kept my word with them. They told me they couldn't afford to buy the ether anymore, and then law enforcement in America was tracking the ether, and they knew everything they were doing, so they changed from ether to kerosene and gasoline, and people couldn't snort anymore, because you remember when people used to always have bloody noses?
Yeah.
That was coming from the kerosene and the gasoline, so people started smoking cocaine. So I was in I was in it when the inception of the crystal of the crack cocaine, basically started. It was an epidemic. It was horrible. It was killing people, and you know what a crackhead is. We both know. We know the streets. You know the streets like I do, and it's unfortunately it went from a cocaine 80s and snorting into a cool drug to something really nasty, and it was in all the the neighborhoods, all the the rough neighborhoods, and it was destroying basically the blacks and Mexicans. It was really rough on them, you know.
So you saw a transition right before your eyes?
Oh, right in front of my eyes. I was a big wholesaler of it. I never.
What year did you start?
I started my first kilo of cocaine. I was selling in '84, and 1984. I basically was just selling a few kilos, maybe 4 or 5 a month. You know, I would sell one to my friend a week, and then I'd get one for myself. I'd break up in ounces, and I actually should have kept doing that. I was making good money, 20, 30 grand a month back in the 80s, saving my money. And then I met the big black dope dealers in LA, and I met them in the clubs, and I have the price. And
you had the best price.
Best price.
Because the Colombians are friendly with you.
Colombians are friendly with me, and they trusted me.
Trust you.
I basically wholesale it. I would get from the Colombians, and I used to sell directly to Colombians because I would get it first. And I had Colombians here that these Colombians wouldn't even deal with, but they would deal with me. They knew me, you know, from Hollywood, and knew I wasn't a cokehead, and I was all about business.
Did you ever have any type of issue? Because some of the Colombians are pretty aggressive, right?
Great people with me. I never had a problem. Yeah,
Oh.
I'm sure like any race, if you don't pay them and you disrespect them. When I eventually got arrested, I lost $1.5 million of my own money, and I lost another. I ended up getting 500 kilos from it. It was $5 million. I ended up losing like another $3.5 million of theirs, and they came to visit me in LA County Jail, and so sorry what happened to me, and don't worry about the money. Just if you can, just disrespect who we are and leave our name out of your mouth. And they sent a lawyer to see me, and the rest is history, you know.
Awesome. I'm going to go back to that because to me, if I was 22, 23 in those days, because the girls are so much freer and, right? I mean, sex in the 80s is a whole different animal. People want to have sex.
And what the women would do for cocaine, I don't care how beautiful, how famous. I don't even want to mention the names. It's not fair to them. And I still, if I watch TMZ or I watch the news and they talk about certain famous actresses or actors, I knew about this in the 80s, and they're all screwed up today because of it. Girls would sell their souls for it. And, you know, I mean, beautiful, famous girls. And it wasn't just the fact of, you would think with all their money they can get what they want, but they really can't. And I wasn't a drug addict, and I'm getting the best stuff, and I can make it real simple for a famous or a rich person, which I did many times. And
You told me that one story. I don't know if you could bring it up. That one singer came to you in the middle of the night and wanted something, and you said, "Sing to my girlfriend."
Yes.
Can you say his name or no?
He's still alive. He's, I mean, I'll just say he's one of the members of Toto. How's that?
Of Toto? Oh, but there was one guy also, one of the members of Prince, right?
Well, that's another one. He never sang to me, but
okay.
I made a big mistake. I never understood the effect cocaine did to people because I didn't use, and I'd never been high in my life. So basically, like the prosecution said and law enforcement said, I was the worst kind, because I took advantage of these people and I profited from their weaknesses. And, that goes, that's a kind of interesting thing to say. Best Foods mayonnaise is giving you cholesterol every day. McDonald's is killing people every day. They're profiting from this is capitalism.
That's what I was saying. It's capitalism.
This is America. This is what America was built on. But unfortunately, they're hypocrites, and they pick and choose what they think is okay. Liquor is killing more people than drugs.
Tobacco killed
all that. But that's a whole other story, And
we're not. The truth is, me and I think you think the same way. I'm not against those people because we need capitalism here. We need companies. We need strength. And we need that to make the country move. And make companies work. So we're not against capitalism.
No, you need alpha males, and you need workers. You need bosses, and you need chiefs. You need Indians. Some people are made to be chiefs. Some people are made to be Indians, and some people are very content with either or. And I was just one of those guys that always wanted more. But in a nutshell.
But I'm just thinking, man, 1.6 a month is crazy, right? Like,
but it didn't last long. When I was making $5,000 a week, that lasted long. I have people I know to this day, not going to mention their names. I don't know what they're doing, but they're still chipping away and making this a little bit every week. My father told me, he goes, Dion, I would rather make $5,000 a week for the rest of my life than make $1 million a month for 6 months and go to prison. And that's,
You said that too.
yeah, and that's what happened to me. And
So how long did you?
once I started going into heavy amounts, I lasted 6 months
6 months.
at the most.
Wow. You told me the story before, the cool story, that you would have a car and you just drop the car off, say, go ahead, keep the car.
Well, back in those days, you can get a P.O. box. You could register a car to any name. You get the pink slip sent to that P.O. box. Didn't have to have proof of insurance. So if you would walk into one of these small little dealerships, like these guys that sell cars on corners, you walk in there, they don't ask for ID. So I want to buy that Ford Tempo over there for $3,000. You give them the $3,000. They don't want to see. If they want to see your driver's license, no problem. We had people at DMV in those days. We'd get fake driver's license, and we'd register the cars to that driver's license. The pink slip would come, and then if a certain big black dope dealer, that's who I dealt when I sold volumes. It was only black people because they had the out for it because of all the crack houses and stuff.
And these guys were really good business guys.
I
mean,
loved them.
yeah.
Great. Some of the best people I ever met doing that. And they liked me, and they felt the same about me. Their only fear were their own people of jacking them and trying to kill them for what they had. And so what we would do, if some certain individual want 100 kilos, I'd have my guys I drive one of the cars and park it, and the Colombians would put 100 kilos in it, and then I tell the wholesalers I was dealing with where the car was, and I would tell them the pink slips in the glove compartment, and the merchandise is in the back. Just keep it. Keep the car and the pink slip, and it's yours. You're in the car $3,000, and you just made $400,000. You don't really want the car back. It's not worth it. You don't want the heat if anybody's watching the car or anything. So they would keep the cars, and those are true stories. And
Were they happy they got a car? They didn't really care.
I didn't give a shit. I think I probably ended up back with the same car 6 months later with them putting money in it to give to me.
All right.
And I can tell you a real quick story. Everybody loves $100 bills. Back then, when people were snorting cocaine and cocaine, people would pay with hundreds. It was always a cool thing to pay with $100 bills. But crack cocaine is a whole different animal. There's a lot of $1 bills, $5 bills. It's kind of, it's a whole different way of being paid. And you can get a guy that's on welfare that's giving his whole check to some dope dealer in South Central for some crack, and so they accumulate these crack houses, $1 bills, fives. So basically, the first time I ever did a deal with one of the biggest black dope dealers in L.A., they paid me. They paid me in like ones, fives, and tens, and they gave me this big duffel bag. I think I gave them like 70 kilos at the very first time, and they called them birds. The blacks would always refer them to me as birds. They weren't kilos, and they put the money in the car. I had one of my guys that worked for me take out my profit, which I made $4,000 each kilo. So I think I made $280 on that one deal. I would take my $280,000 and I put it to the side, and I would leave the money in the car, and the Colombians would pick up the car. And so I remember the first deal, the Colombians calling me and saying, they used to call me Simone. They said, Simone. I said, what? He said, how come all the money was ones, fives, and tens? I says, I don't know. And they said, that's a lot of small cash. I said, I don't know. And I left it at that. So I called up the black dope dealers, and I assumed everything was right because no one talked about shortage or anything, because they used to count money with machines. And I asked my guy, I said, hey, how come you gave me all ones, fives, and tens? He goes, you know what his answer was to me when I asked him why you only gave me ones, fives, and tens? His answer was it all there? And I said, yeah, all the money was there. And he goes, then what the fuck you calling me for? He was right. And then so I called the Colombians back. I said, was all the money there? And they said, yeah. And I said, then what the fuck were you calling me for? So they laughed, I laughed. And that was the story of that first deal. And true story, because a lot of cracks bought with $1 and $10 bills.
It's a lot of counting.
A lot of counting, but it's there, and that's basically what the bottom line is, right? When you get money, when someone owes you $500, you don't really, as long as it's right, you don't pay attention to anything else. So, in a nutshell, to get away from the drug trafficking, one day, LAPD, Major Narcotics, came to my house, knocking all the doors down, and I went from being a multimillionaire to being broke with a $7 million bail, sitting in LA County Jail. In June 10th, 1988 was the day I got arrested. They closed down all the streets around my house, and I sat in LA County Jail for 30 months fighting my case. I ended up getting sentenced to, I ended up doing 9 years, so I ended up getting like 18 years. The max at the time was like 19. It's not the actual cocaine, it's the weight. It's not that you're selling cocaine, it's over a certain amount of weight. They have these enhancements, and anything over 100 pounds had a 15-year enhancement of going to prison. And you could only get like 2, 3, and 4 for transportation for sales or conspiracy to sell. So I got the max because I fought it for so long and I lost. And the first year I was blaming everybody that told on me, and I was wondering how I'm going to get all my money that was on the streets that was owed to me. And then you go from blaming everybody else to finally saying, you know what, I put myself here. I got to get out of here. I got to better myself. And because no one gives a fuck anymore. You know, you're gone. You're missing, and you're missing in action. So now I got to get this time behind me. So I end up going to prison, and I decide that I'm gonna try to produce movies when I come home, mainstream movies. You know, and that's how.
Oh, I want to go to prison. I mean, you're 26. 6.
I
almost 27.
Yeah, I went to prison when I was when I actually went to prison from LA County Jail, I was close to 30.
So you did how many years exactly?
9.
9, including the jail time?
June 10th, 1988 to 1997. I think it was July of 97.
Well, you're a pretty big, strong guy, but there's a lot of big, strong guys in the prisons.
I mind my own business, stay to myself. Never had any problem with black people. Never had any problem with the Latins. You know, the Jewish and Italian guys I used to try to talk to, the older guys. Did have little issues with when I was in Tehachapi with white people. You know, the supremists, the Nazi types, and the ones that don't like blacks and don't like Mexicans and don't like Jews. I had a little problem with them up in Tehachapi, and that didn't work out well for me or them, and that's behind me. And so when I finally got sentenced, finally left the
But they got you, right?
Yeah, hit me with a weight on the yard.
Opened you up, put a huge scar on you.
Yeah, scar on me. I was in the infirmary. Those were dark days and nights. You know, your brain's hanging out of your head and looking at going to prison for 9 years and straight. You're young, you know, 9 years. I'm fucking 26 years old. Never violent. Never been in trouble in my life. Never drank. Never smoked. Just trying to make some money, you know. And fucking 19 years of your life and do half. You know, that's scary.
Spiritually, you got to
it broke you. It breaks you. And I'm laying in Kern County Medical Center up there by Bakersfield, handcuffed to a gurney, and my brain's hanging out, and sitting there for 3 hours, and finally some doctor walks by, and I get a glance because I can't see out of this eye. I can see out of the right one. It's got this Jewish guy's name. I could tell it's like a Schwartz or something. I said, "Hey, Doc." And he goes, "Yeah." I said, "I've been here 5 hours, man. No one's helping me. Can you help me?" He goes, "Well, we're real busy." I said, "Are you Jewish?" And he goes, "Why you ask?" I said, "I'm a Jew, and I see from your name, you know, that you're a Jew." And he goes, "Yeah, I'm Jewish." He goes, "What happened to you?" And I said, I was talking to some black people that I knew from before going to jail on the yard in Tehachapi, and I got into it with the Aryan Brotherhood type, not Aryan Brotherhood, but the white supreme type, and you know the Peckerwoods, and they were trying to tell me who I can talk to and who I can't. Basically, Nazis, Hitler type followers that hate Jews. I made it very clear to the doctor, so you know he kind of felt like, fuck, I better help this guy. He's one of us, you know. So right then, this doctor helped me, and he did the best he could, and I think it looks pretty damn good for what he was working with, you know.
So I can see it here, so it was pretty bad.
Yeah, it was awful. And
they dropped a weight on your head?
A weight on my head.
How big? I mean, like
I don't even know what size. It's like a 40-pounder. They wanted me to press charges, but I was done going to county jail, and there was like a bunch of them. It was like 18 or 19 of them involved. And
wow, man, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, someone told me like a month later that the Mexican mafia supposedly stabbed every one of them. I heard. I don't know why that would happen. You know, it was kind of awful what happened to those guys too after they did this to me. But no winners, and I I went and did my time, and over time it healed, and I was in prison, and I finally figured out I got to do something when I come home. So I had my brother send me these film books. I used to buy them from Samuel French over there on Laurel Canyon, Ventura. I was reading books about being a producer.
Which brother?
My little brother, David, that I was actually involved with at Red Light for a while. He would send me these books from Samuel French, and I met a guy in San Luis Obispo when I was there, Jake Malone, who was, Parker Sherman, who was a director before he went into prison for Bruce Seven and
Really?
Evil Angel. And
so he was a director because Bruce Seven died before you got out, didn't he? Or right around the same time?
Yeah, I didn't know Bruce Seven, yeah. But I met Parker Sherman, who was Jake Malone, who just committed suicide a few years back.
But he was directing with those guys way back.
Way back.
What days was that? Any idea?
I would say in the early '90s. He was like with Evil Angel and knew Patrick Collins from Elegant Angel when they were all part of Evil Angel. Because I worked for Elegant Angel, and Evil Angel and Elegant Angel were. John owned both, and he gave Elegant Angel to Patrick. And, that's back when, what's her name? Bruce Seven's girl, the
Bianca.
Bianca, right.
She was great.
Great, right. So they were all involved with, Bruce Seven and Evil Angel, and they all were in that same area over there on Cavella in North Hollywood. So I'm reading these books every day, and this guy that works in the canteen with me, I got him a job in the canteen. Who's this guy, Parker Sherman. He sees me reading these books all the time, and he goes, "What are you going to do when you get home?" I says, "I want to produce mainstream movies." He goes, "Why don't you get into porn?" And I go, "No, I don't want to get into that. It'll get me back into drugs and all the bullshit." He goes, "No, porn is a big business." He goes, "I have a really good friend that I think would really like you," and he introduced me to Patrick Collins from Elegant Angel.
So you were in the cell with Jake.
We're in the same prison. Same yard. And I took a liking to him because he was, more normal. He was just a drug addict that went wacko one day and robbed a taxi cab in Hollywood and strung out on heroin and beat the guy up and jacked him for his taxi cab.
He was a nice guy, too.
Great guy. And
so he got you, so you got out and you went straight to Patrick?
When I went home, I finally got out in 97. I went to... did what I had to do, go see my parole officer, and then he got me a meeting in Encino up in a house up in the hills with Patrick Collins from Elegant Angel. And it was funny, I haven't seen a woman or anything in 9 years, and I walk in his house, and he's married to Cindy Collins, who was Nicole Lace. Right. So she's sitting there breastfeeding her baby with no top on and her tits hanging out everywhere.
You just got out? How long have you been out?
Maybe a weekend.
A week, 2 days,
a
or
week
5 days.
Yeah. And I go, "Excuse me." She goes, "Oh, don't worry about it. Everybody's walking around naked." I didn't know how porn went.
You just spent 9 years.
Yeah.
You went at 26, so you're 35 or 36?
35.
35.
So I'm at this house, and
Were you working out?
I was thinner than I am now, and I was in really good shape because you don't eat as much in there, and all you do is have time and work out. So I met with Patrick, and he at his house, and he goes, "What do you want to do?" And I says, "Be honest with you, I'd like to get involved and produce some mainstream movies, but I need a job." And I asked him, I said, "Would you give me a job at working for you?" And he goes, "I really don't have anything open right now, but I'll keep you in mind." And I said, and I told him, I says, before I left, I says, "If you give me a job, I don't want no money. I just want to learn the business and hopefully I can do something good in return eventually for you." And he goes, "I'll keep that in mind," not knowing that Patrick was a drug addict his whole life, and he had a rough upbringing too, and he probably kind of appreciated someone like me just getting out of prison and where I came from. So like a week or 2 weeks go by, he's asking me, he calls me up, he goes, "Hey." I go, "Yeah." He goes, I go, "Who's this?" And he goes, "It's Patrick Collins from Elegant Angel. You still want that job?" And I said, "Yeah, only if you don't pay me." He goes, "Look, I got to pay you something, $150 a week." I said, "Okay." So I went to work for Elegant Angel right there on Lassen and Vario. I remember I used to bring $5 a day in change. My wife today, who was my girlfriend at the time, would help me. I was living at her house with her. Just came home. All my credit was ruined. All my credit cards were taken advantage of.
So somebody was using your credit,
Right. So I come home to these
your family.
and whoever, and I come home to the P.O. box and my credit's ruined. I have no money. I went from being rich to broke. So I'm working for Elegant Angel. You know, I start at the bottom. I'm around all these arrogant guys: Rob Black, Greg Alves, Tom Byron, Van Damage, Tiffany Minks. I'm starting at the bottom.
They're all arrogant? Anybody nice there?
You know, like Shawn Michaels and Tom Byron, they're all, you know, thinking they're better than everybody. And Van Damage. And Greg Alves was just a salesman, and he worked for Patrick. When I came to work, he was Patrick's general manager. I don't think none of them would have gave me a job, but Patrick overrode them all and said, I like this guy, I'm going to give him a job. I didn't have a desk the first day.
So Alves was the general manager?
General manager.
So you reported to him or you reported to Patrick?
When you work for Patrick, you know, there's a protocol, but Patrick is the ultimate say, you know. And so I'd see all these guys every day. What I noticed, because I went from staying out all night and being in nightclubs and going to Cantor's Deli or Twang's Coffee Shop on Coldwater and Ventura. Now it's a Sharky's. Or I'm going into sleeping all day to, you know, in prison. You're getting up early. They change your ways. So now I'm up at 4 in the morning. I'm running in the mornings, and I'm getting Elegant Angel like 6, 7 in the morning. And no one's there, and I'm looking. The salesman's getting there like at 1 in the afternoon. Who was Rob Black at the time, and he didn't even want the job. He was more of a guy that wanted to direct, and he wanted to be on the creative end. Him and Greg Alves were good friends at the time, and so I'm just this nobody trying to learn this business, and I knew that there was opportunity for me because nobody liked working. And nobody got there on time. Everybody got there late. We were selling VHS. You know, there was no DVDs. So I remember Rob's girlfriend at the time didn't want the job as a sales rep, but I learned real quick. The salesman controlled the business.
What year was that?
97.
97.
So
beginning, end? I'm just going to
I
take
got out
time
in
frame.
July, kind of the end of 97. So I went from cleaning condoms and going on these sets to
Cleaning condoms?
picking up condoms off the floor for working for like a Rob Black or a Tom Byron or...
So you're a PA kind of right there.
Yeah, a nobody, a bullshit guy, you know. Didn't even have a desk. So they were looking for a salesman. And Patrick, to me, was the best salesman I've ever seen in my life.
Really?
In that company, Greg Alves was the smoothest and did his work and got on planes. But Patrick he could sell probably iced Eskimos. He's just, you know, he was a dope fiend. He had to beg for money. You know, he had to do what he had to do to survive. And
he was that good, huh?
he was good. He was smooth.
So you had great mentors kind of for sales.
Crazy, but like a bunch of gypsies. I just got there. When I first got there at Elegant Angel, some cop died in the building. Do you remember that story?
Yeah, the Latin guy went crazy.
Crazy.
Or he was upset somehow.
Right, so I'm just coming into this. So here I come, right out of prison.
Did he just same month, 2 months earlier?
Yeah, in the last couple of months passed.
Wow, yeah.
So this was a big thing that was going on with Elegant Angel. They were going to get sued, and the people's family wanted to get him. I think it was an off-duty Burbank police officer that got killed. And so I didn't even know these guys. So the only connection I had was Jake Malone, Parker, you know, to Patrick. He would call collect from there to talk to Patrick and see how I'm doing.
Oh, that is great.
Yeah. And here I am at Elegant Angel, doing what I'm doing, and like a month goes by, and I'm there early every day. I'm still running, and
You're there at 6 or 7 before everybody.
Everybody.
And so, what do you do when you're there? Just sit around, or what?
Trying to learn, understand what's going on, walk around, look
at the movies, look at the
everything.
Sales sheets or something.
Anything. Answering the phones, and people would call, you know, back, you know, there's like, you know, because you were a porn star, but you're also, where on my end too, like the Yakos and the Tommies and Statewide and Yako and Model and all those guys would call us from New York, you know, those loudmouth Jews or Italians and looking for product, and
they would call you,
call the office, and no one was there, and I'd pick up the phone, and I'd say, Yako said, "Who's this?" And he goes, I go, "This is Dion." Yako would say, "Who the fuck is Dion?" And I said, "I'm just a guy that works here. Nobody's here yet." He goes, "Yeah, them fucking people don't work, them lazy motherfuckers. These are how these New Yorkers were." He goes, "I need some VHS. I go, "Okay, I'll get the order for him. What do you want?" I write it down. I would take it to shipping. And when Patrick would come in, he goes, "How's your day going?" I said, "Look, man, people are calling. They want product." And and no one's here. And he goes, yeah. I goes, you know, I know you're looking for a salesman. Let me do it. I'm here anyways. He goes, you want to be a salesman? And he asked Rob Black and Greg Alves, and they all, whatever. I took over from day one. The minute I became salesman, all them accounts that they lost because they were abrasive, disrespectful, I got them all back. I brought everybody back to Elegant Angel. So Patrick fell in love with me, loved me, how I did things.
So I want people to understand, this is 97.
97, 98, yeah.
Elegant Angel is a big company, a very well-to-do company. People love the product, right?
Love it.
And I mean, so people are looking for it. There's not that much competition, right? So you have people dying to get the content of the product, VHS, and you saved because they chased off customers?
Oh, Patrick would self-destruct.
Patrick would chase them off.
Oh, he was abrasive. People hated him. Just the way he treated people. And
was that just an unbelievable time to do business?
Unbelievable time. So here you got Evil Angel, Anabolic, and Elegant Angel are the only three companies at the time. Of course, you had Vivid and their garbage, you know, and we were a gonzo company. We were producing what people wanted to see.
They had a couple little gonzo, but nothing
like us.
Yeah.
And so here I am looking at the customers we have, and I'm looking at customers we don't have. So I'm calling people all over the country when no one's there. I don't even have a desk. I'm using Greg Alves' desk. I'm using Rob Black's desk, Tom Byron's, any of the directors. They'd come in, what are you doing? I said, I'm selling your shit. Tom Byron was one of our best directors then. He had Comeback Pussy line.
But Tom Byron would sell sometimes?
Fuck no, but he had an office. And but they'd come in at 1, 2 in the afternoon and ask me what I'm doing in his office. I said, I'm selling this shit. That's what I'm doing for you. You know, I'm selling your product. His line sold better than anybody. He had the Comeback Pussy line, which did fantastic.
So that was the best out of all the products.
Patrick too, Sodomania was a really good one, and he had his guy Michael Cates that his
nice guy,
camera guy, and his editor, and they were editing back then on that non-linear shit, right?
Yeah, there was called.
You know, remember those? They turned the knobs, and I forget the name of the shit. So I would sell VHS from any freaking phone I can get my hands on. And I would go through all the lists. And back then, if you weren't calling from a big company, people weren't taking your call. You know, the Sturmans, the GVAs, and the IVDs, and all the big guys. They don't want to talk to you. Fuck you. You know, but if you call them, who is this, Dion? I'm from Elegant Angel. They answer the phone. So I'm building these relationships. I'm bringing shit back. And Patrick was smart. You know, as self-destructive as he is, he saw that I was good. And I had a work ethic. And I was bringing business back to the company. He loved to spend every dime he made. So he loved me. So this is right when he sees how well I'm doing, this is when he has his fallout with Greg Alves. Greg Alves gets fired.
Why?
Or quits. Who knows what they're doing? I don't know what happened. Something happened.
Something dirty, maybe?
Who knows, maybe. So Greg goes to maybe not. Maybe they're just tired of be dealing with Patrick because he's hard to deal with. So Greg leaves and goes to Metro. Greg was always very nice to me when I worked at Elegant Angel, so I got nothing to say. And Rob Black was maybe a little abrasive, but we always got along good. And so
he's like a real guy,
yeah. So he left. He went and started Extreme Associates. Tom Byron went with Rob. I think he's with him now. They have a hamburger stand called American Cheeseburger in New York or something. And good for them. And then you got Shawn Michaels. I think he went to Anabolic. Then you got Van Damage. I think he left with Extreme. Tiffany Minks left with Rob and they went to Extreme. So there's a war going on. You know, Elegant Angel. They even call Extreme Associates EA, like Elegant Angel or Evil Angel.
So is this the same time Alves and Rob Black leave at the same time?
Everybody gets either fired or quits at the same time. So here we are. We got Patrick Collins, who's going like every couple months to Budapest to film Sodomania.
I just want to make sure this thing. So Patrick Collins sees these people leaving, and then the other people he's chasing off?
Oh, yeah, he's chasing all the distributors off.
No, I mean the directors or the...
Yeah, and he changes his mind.
Salesman.
Yeah, and he never had a problem with changing his mind. He lets you know.
Wow.
You know.
That's a way to destroy a company.
He did everything in his power to destroy a company. But when you're in a VHS, 50 cents, and you're selling it for $15, in his case, he wanted that quarter sometimes because he wanted to get a Rolls Royce. You know, he wanted to charge on the other end. You know, Maybe having that attitude did help sometimes. I was always scared of losing customers, so
I was scared.
Yeah, so I'm here. I am. Everybody's gone, and one day I come to the office. It's Patrick, me, Mike Cates, Miles. You remember Miles? That fucking Miles, and
Yeah.
and all these guys, right? And everybody's gone. Anybody that had a big name. And, you know, they all thought they were bigger than the company. And Patrick was, like, fucked up. He was on drugs and didn't know what to do. I said, hey, Pat, I'm going to tell you something. You're bigger than any of these guys. You got the brand. You own Elegant Angel. Let's just make good product, and I'll represent you on the other end and sell the shit, and we'll survive.
Was he nervous at that point, you're saying? Because you said you got the brand.
You know what? If he was nervous, he always had that attitude like, fuck it, I lived in the streets before, I'll go back there. But, you know, he had Cindy now, and he had the kids, the twins, and...
Big house?
Big fucking house in Hidden Hills.
How many square feet?
10,000.
Beautiful?
Beautiful. No money in the bank?
No money in the bank?
Fuck no.
But Patrick Collins, you know, I want the people to know. I met Patrick Collins in 1990 with John Stagliano on The Wild Goose Chase, I think was the movie. It was shot on film. I think I might have worked with Angela Summers. I can't remember. But he was just felt like that guy that you knew.
Right.
Right? Like a guy from, like, I grew up in a truck shop. He looked like he grew up in a truck shop, right?
That's who he is.
And so he was a skillful salesman, or that was him?
That was him. And he was the best salesman I've ever seen in my life.
But you felt like you knew him.
Oh, you felt like you knew. I loved him. I would not be who I am today without him. I would not have what I have today without him. He's one of those guys you love and hate at the same time. He's so self-destructive. I remember one time we bought a motorhome and he didn't need it. He never went on it. It just sat and rotted in the back of the warehouse. And I said, look, let's just at least film with it. Let's make money for us. And I go, let's get rid of this thing. And then one day I finally talked him into it. We were taking it to Orange County to sell it. Instead of selling the fucking thing, we ended up coming home with the old one and a new one. And then
he's having time of his life.
Yes, no money in the bank.
So did he grow up poor, maybe?
Oh yeah, with nothing. So all the money we're making, he's spending, making $100,000 a week, bringing up crazy money
in his pocket. $100,000 to the company.
Company easily making $100,000 a week, but we never had money. He spent it all, and
on everything.
Everything. His motto was, spend more money, you'll make more money. I said, okay. I'm not that guy. I need to save money. I need security. So I remember one time we went to Fresno. We had this crazy cousin named Bobby. Bobby was a whack job. Lived in Fresno, but Bobby loved Patrick, and Patrick loved Bobby. Bobby was a little autistic, but I loved Bobby. Bobby was good people. And we'd always go up to Fresno to see Bobby, and when we were there, I'd go visit the stores. Fuck it, I was going to do business too. Remember, we were in this brand new $300,000 motorhome. Me and Patrick drive up to fucking Fresno. We park in this like Holiday Inn Express type thing. I go, what are we doing here? And he goes, we're going to stay in the hotel. I said, Pat, we just bought this fucking $300,000 motorhome. Let's sleep in this thing. We don't need to sleep here. He goes, nope, let's go in there. So we always did it Patrick's way. But unfortunately, I love Patrick, and I wouldn't be where I am today without him, like I said, and I appreciate him. But it's a love-hate. He's a very difficult man to work for and to be around. And it's tough to deal with, because when you know that no one else in life, everybody's turned on you, no one's gave you opportunity, but the one person that did is Patrick, who gave me opportunity and let me have a chance and have a new life. You hate at the same time as you love, because he's just a very difficult person to be around. I used to tell people, to understand Pat, you'd have to be around him. He's hard to explain. He's very self-destructive, and he's very hard to be around, but there's a side to him that I loved. And one thing led to another. I worked for him. I was his general manager. We saved his brand. Elegant Angel was doing good.
So let me just, revise or revisit that. How much money do you think, like, they were grossing, before, when you just came, and then after you started bringing all these connections back and started running? What was the difference, do you think?
I think in the 90s, when I first came, I would estimate, because I saw everything and I did all the sales, and with Patrick, I'd have to sell stuff in other offices because he would not approve anything. He'd always fight everything I did. But I'd sell shit and ship it without him even knowing because it was only for his own good.
Because you might have known it's better to make a deal.
Of course.
Yeah.
But we didn't have to give shit away back then. We didn't have all these fucking whores like we had in porn now that destroyed our business. We had a beautiful business till all the fucking whores came in it. And not the females, they're not whores. I love the women. It's these other whores, the business end whores. So they're all gone, those guys. And Patrick says, what do I do? He goes, I'm going to make you general manager. And I said, Patrick, you make the movies. You go to Europe, let me sell. I'll be the general manager. And we'll make this thing work. And we made it work. And we fast learned that it wasn't those people. It wasn't Tom Byron. It wasn't Rob Black. It was the brand. It was Elegant Angel. You could put any name on an Elegant Angel movie and it would sell. Unfortunately, if it wasn't good, I don't know if you're going to get the reorders. But if you put out decent, good product and put Elegant Angel name and Patrick, he had his big stamp approved by Patrick on there.
He was great.
Yeah, he was great. So that was that. He made me general manager, and it worked for a while. And he fought everything I did. I didn't like the way he spent his money, and it was his company. I couldn't live like that.
But the numbers, what were the numbers? So when what you think when you first came, right?
We were selling.
How many were you selling when you first came, and then after you got it going?
Nobody was selling big numbers except for Evil Angel, Anabolic, and Elegant Angel. We were selling probably 3,000 to 3,500 videos a week for $15 a piece, and not counting all the reorders. So we were probably moving 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 VHS a week times 15.
2 titles a week?
Yeah, 2 titles a week. Then we did more. We're probably selling, 10,000 VHS a week. Even if we made only $10 on it, there was so much fat on it. We were making, $100,000 a week.
But I'm saying it's because you said that he had chased away so many accounts.
I got it all back.
How much more did you do? You think so? If you're selling 10,000 when you came, did you bring it up to 14,000?
Oh, yeah, easily.
15,000?
Easily close to doubling the numbers.
Uh-huh.
And unfortunately for Patrick, I'm one of those guys that I believe to be an alpha male. I need to own my own company. I'm not good at working for other people. Still as grateful as I could for what he did for me.
But yeah, you go on to your own. But before that, you were directing. You started directing a little bit. You directed me.
I didn't even know how to fucking hold a camera. I never learned. I think the director's the cameraman. Yeah, they use my name as a director, but I don't call myself a director. I was creative. I filmed shit in better locations. I had motorhomes to deal with. I was the first guy to ever get a Playboy deal because all I did was film on a boat or a train and get the big names, and Playboy loved it. And I did a soft version, and our first sale to Playboy ever, I think I sold it for $20,000. And Patrick was in heaven over it, and
So you were a director. So you really wasn't into it, but you just...
Never was a big fan.
I didn't think so.
I knew that you get a beautiful girl and you get a TTBoy or a Mark Davis, those kind of guys, they knew what to do. So you didn't have to direct. You just hire the right guys, hire the right girls. The rest is history. Yeah. And a good cameraman, because if the cameraman's good, he shuts his fucking mouth and lets TTBoy do what he's going to do, or he lets Mark Davis do what he's going to do. Or there's others I thought were decent, but I didn't really like hiring anybody else.
Yeah. What do you think of Tom Byron as an actor, performer?
He was a nice guy, He would never work for me because I was a nobody when I was there. The first movie I ever directed, he didn't work for me. You worked for me. You did that. I sold that to Playboy. Mark Davis would always work with me. Actually, your brother, I used to use a lot.
That was way later.
Yeah, way later maybe. But back then, I think you were in that first movie.
No, it couldn't be the first. I mean, I don't think so, because then you called me, then a month or 2 months later.
Maybe it wasn't. But I don't know. I know Mark Davis was in a lot of my movies. I liked him. A good-looking guy.
He's great, yeah.
And I loved him. He's a cool dude.
Cool dude.
And,
he was here.
Oh,
he was here about 2 weeks ago.
Awesome. But, no one really gave me a time of day at Elegant Angel. And
so Tom Byron was way too good for you?
Maybe, but it's all good. He got humbled too, and I'm friends with him on Facebook now. And he's really friendly and nice, and I wish him well.
Yeah,
We have different ways. He's a cool dude. God bless him. Smart guy, real intelligent, not stupid.
Yeah, he's always been just a decent guy. Yeah,
You know,
good performer too.
I look at myself as a great salesman. Unfortunately, I'm scared of flying, and I didn't visit the customers like I should have. And to me, Patrick's the best salesman I ever saw, and Greg Alves is to me overall the best salesman because he gets on planes and he visits people, and I call it like I see it.
It's integrity to do all that hard work.
Yeah, he did the work. He earned he earned what he was doing, and maybe he wasn't the most what's that word I'm looking for? Ethical of the way he did business with, stealing other people's concepts and seeing somebody's black product do well or somebody's other product do well and just copy it and put his name on it and go see the customers and basically get in that way. But,
So that's kind of dirty. He did that to a lot of my product.
Yeah. God bless him. I'm good with it. I don't want to fight those guys anymore. I prefer doing what I'm doing now. Love porn. Porn was great to me. Had a lot of good times. Enjoyed it. Love porn people. I always, like I'm saying, like a lot of the producers, a lot of the studio owners, and a lot of the distributors. I'm a people's person, and that's why I think my strongest strength was the sales part.
What about Mark Wallace? You work with Mark Wallace?
Mark Wallace. I actually like Mark Wallace. He was good with me. He helped me at Elegant Angel.
He's cool.
He was a Jew like me, so there's always that Jewish thing. Mark Goldberg, yeah. Always good with me.
Cool.
Yeah, I like Mark. Tiffany was good with me. Tiffany Minks.
I like Mark. Mark was cool.
Mike Cates was awesome with me. It would
nice guy.
Hold the camera for me because everybody knew Patrick was difficult. And if you had half a good soul and you were half a decent person, you always wanted to make it easy on people there because Patrick made it so fucking difficult. And,
right. Well, give me an example.
It's hard. He's just so overwhelming. It's so much about him. Everything's about him. He's a hard guy to explain. It's almost like you. I think you're a hard guy to explain. I understand you. A lot of people are scared of you. A lot of people fear you. It's just you don't let people in easy into your life. And once you've earned you earn somebody's respect, and you care about them and you like them, you love them. But getting to that point might be a little bit too much maintenance or work for somebody else, because a lot of people can't handle the truth, and I think you're a very, very valuable friend when someone gets to know you, and because you're going to have their back to the day they die. But unfortunately, a lot of people don't stay in your life long enough to understand that and have that opportunity. But
thank you.
You're welcome. As you see, very few people in that industry, since I'm out now, I'm friends with, it is you and our dear friend Frank Barbarino, who took his own life, the printer. But I have no connections with anybody else in that business. I miss the action. I miss but I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm sure you have other stuff you want to talk about.
So, yeah. You're working with Patrick and you're getting, frustrated. You told me before about a story he's in Czech Republic and you got to go check on his wife or something.
He'd be in Czech Republic. He'd always be up all night. And he'd call you because you didn't answer I used to have to sleep with the phone next to me because I was on call and he had nobody but me. A very lonely guy, he had nobody in his life of substance. He loved me. He went everywhere with me. He really genuinely loved me. And I'm sorry that I let him down at the end, but I had to go in a different route. I couldn't live like this anymore.
Frustrated?
Yeah, frustrated. So he would call me from all over the world. He made me a partner, and he said, you get 25% of Elegant Angel, but it's 25% of what's left, and there's never anything left. He spends it all. And he'd call me from Budapest, and I was the only one that could talk to him and make him understand what's going on. And things were going good for me. I went from making $150 a week to, he paid me, I think, $1,500 a week, plus I would direct one movie a month, and he was generous. He'd make $10,000 from one budget for yourself, he was a very generous guy.
You get $10,000 off the budget?
Yeah, as like a director fee.
Wow.
Because there was so much fat in these movies, when you're
Yeah.
you know the fat was in it.
Sometimes, yeah.
That's why there's guys today that are wealthy in the business, and there's other guys that were making a lot of money that are broke today. Because if you're not a good businessman in today's world, you're not going to make it. The margins aren't there. But when you're selling something for $15 and you're in at $1, there's $14. Even if you fuck off $4, you still made 10. And it's so easy back then to make money.
I mean, how long was it before you got put in a good position? So you started,
I was, once I took over the sales job for Elegant Angel, I was the guy that they couldn't afford to lose. I ended up with power. And then when everybody quit or got fired, there was no one left. And everybody knew I was a little different, that I was smart, and I knew what I was doing. And, even Mike Cates, he wanted to save his job, and Miles wanted to save his job, and I'm the one who brought the money in the company.
So a year into it, or
within a year, I took over Elegant Angel. I was running Elegant Angel.
So you're sitting here because you told me. Yeah, I'm just thinking. It's 9 years of hell.
Hell.
Right. Now you've got pretty girls and you got money coming in. I mean, it's almost like back in the nightclub, kind of.
It's better. I don't have to fucking take a girl to a restaurant, and I don't have to take her to a movie and hope that I'm going to get laid. I knew I was getting laid in porn if I wanted to, and I don't want to talk about the girls and stuff, but hey, I love my wife. Nothing happened with us until we were married. I just got done doing 9 years of my life. I'm sorry. I'm not waiting for marriage. I'm going to enjoy myself until we're serious. And people can say whatever the hell they want. Porn girls are some of the most beautiful women in the world. Yeah. And I loved a lot of the porn girls because they were straight and they knew the deal, and I never took advantage of them. They knew they were coming in at work, and I never tried to, if I liked one, I always, let them know and putting them in a scene or trying to enjoy time with them were two different things. If you say no to me and don't want to have dinner with me or go hang out tonight, I'm still putting you in the movie. And I always made that very clear from the beginning. I was never a predator, never took advantage of people. I think nobody could really say a bad word about me in porn. Even Patrick probably now likes me or whatever, but within a year or two, I was doing unbelievable. I knew everybody, and
your spirit's got to be way up.
Way up. My life's beautiful. I'm running 6-7 miles a day. I'm in really great shape. My head's clear. I don't do drugs, drink, smoke. Had all that history of prison and to educate myself, to learn about people. I was going to the shows and I was going everywhere. Everybody loved me, and nobody would deal with Miles or Patrick. And someone like Frank from IBD would call, or Yako or Tommy. It was to the point where, where's Dion? Because we can't deal with anybody else here.
Really?
I got GVA Michigan back. Patrick told Wally to go fuck off. Remember Wally? We answered that one phone in Michigan. Remember Lenny? They were all like ex-Hells Angels that owned Maryland. Not Maryland. What was it? Massachusetts. Remember GVA Massachusetts? GVA was the biggest. It was basically
Lenny, right? I remember that guy.
You know the history of GVA. It was Ruben Sturman who owned GVA, who created all this shit, this porn. And
he's the Godfather, pretty much.
Pretty much.
And what's interesting, what you might not know, is that Marcy was here, right?
Yes.
Steven's sister.
Right.
And Marcy used to work for Ruben.
Right.
Or associate with him in Las Vegas at the stores in 1980, early 80s, which is wild.
Yeah, Marcy's got stories in history.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, even Steven, he worked with
Sidney
Neekert. And all those guys, and David James, they all work for Sidney Neekert. And
it's trippy, right?
I don't want to talk about that fucking guy. But I was very blessed and very lucky and I saw the future, and I seen these smart, I go, this porn's not going to last this way. These guys are uneducated. They're making so much money because there's no competition. And then I started seeing these young kids coming, and DVDs were coming out, and the internet, and no more faxing, and you were getting POs through emails. And
you saw it?
I saw it all.
That didn't come till...
No.
When did you leave Elegant?
Elegant Angel... I remember Sharon. You remember Sharon that worked for Gary from LSMT? You remember her? I remember Sharon was the buyer for Gary at LSMT. He had all the stores in Texas. She told me, if you want to sell me your product, you're going to have to open my emails and you're going to have to take my POs and print them. That's how I learned about computers. I used to just deal with fax machines. I was a crazy nut. I would get so much shit, people buying so much shit. I have 2 fax machines. I would fax out our new release, and all the orders would come through the other number, because if you did it all on the same machine, when you're faxing out, it would be busy. So I'd have one for faxing out and one for the new orders.
That was Elegant?
Elegant.
And so Sharon said that at Elegant?
Correct.
Huh.
So LSMT, and that's, I think Sharon to this day, she's the one that got me to understand the internet and to start doing things with POs. Remember, 97, at the end of 97, I started for Patrick. So by time I'm there from 98 and to 99, remember, I was in New York when 9/11 happened. That was September
2001.
2001. I'm out there starting my new company, Red Light District.
So you left Patrick when?
What happened is I wanted to do my own thing, and I went to Patrick and I said, "Hey, Pat, I love you. You've been great to me, but I really want to do my own thing." And I told him that on a Friday, and he goes, "Let me think about it." So the weekend went by. This is early, like 2000, and he goes, "I'll let you do your own thing. I'll let you do it out of this building." I had money saved up. I was doing it on my own anyways. But he made me an offer I couldn't refuse. He goes, "Can you do me a favor? Can you still run Elegant Angel, and I'll let you start your own company?" And I says, "Are you serious?" And he goes, "Yep. And just, can you do it from here?" And I said, "Deal." So I went home and I thought to myself, here's a guy that gave me opportunity, gave me my start. I'm going to, here's what I want to do is I want to start my own company and still run his, but I want Patrick to be my partner in my company. I'll play by his rules with his. I just want him to play by my rules with mine. It's no lie. I brought Vince Foyer from Anabolic to Elegant Angel when everybody left. Vince stuff wasn't even selling that good at Anabolic. That's what Greg and Chris told me. He wasn't their big seller. Mike John was, and those gangbangs that Chris directed were the big ones. So they didn't really even care about losing Vince. So I brought Vince to Elegant Angel, and this is about the time when I want to go on my own.
You brought Vince to Elegant Angel?
Correct.
Okay.
I gave him 2 movies a month. I was paying him $20,000 a month. $20,000 a month, $10,000 a movie for a director fee. So I told Patrick, I says, "Patrick, since you made me this offer of doing my own company and just keep running yours, here's what I want. I want you to own 50% of my company. I'm putting up all the money. So you'll own Elegant Angel. I'll work for Elegant Angel, but you'll own 50% of Red Light District, and we'll do that all together." And he goes, "Serious?" I go, "Yes, seriously." I go, "But it's my baby. I'm going to do it my way, and we're going to do Elegant Angel the way, your way." So
It was like almost a little bit competitive.
correct, and I understood his feelings on it. I think that I understand, but unfortunately with Patrick, no idea is a good idea unless it's his idea. So I come up with this idea from Vince Foyer, and he brought it from Anabolic.
When you bring in Vince Foyer, I don't want to stop the flow, but why did you bring Vince Foyer?
Well, Vince was looking for work. Anabolic really didn't want him anymore because his stuff didn't sell as good as the other stuff. So I'm figuring, here's a guy that's at Anabolic, the shit's selling, even his shit. At the time, Evil Angel and Anabolic's killing Elegant Angel. Patrick was still doing good, but not like he was. And I figured maybe we can get some of these Anabolic directors and people like that, and maybe we can bring things up. So John LaForme, Vince Foyer, told me, he goes, look, let's it was his idea. I don't want anybody to believe different. Let's just do the one girl in the box like they do at Anabolic. We'll get Chris Streams and to get that one beautiful shot, and we'll knock him out with one punch instead of a bunch of the little shit on the boxes. And I said, okay, let's do it. So we tried that on Elegant Angel. We first tried it when Vince was a director for us, and Pat looked at the numbers in the early stages, and he goes, "What the fuck are you doing here with this Vince Foyer? His shit don't sell. Are you trying to basically ruin my company, and he didn't give it time to legs to take off. And
So they were used to the many girls on a cover, so it didn't sell. The one girl didn't sell for Elegant.
he didn't think it was selling, but it was. It's just that the legs weren't there yet. Went out the door like normal, but he didn't see the reorders yet. And he goes, get rid of this fucking guy. I want him gone. So I told Vince, I go, Pat doesn't want you, and he wants you to leave. So Vince didn't know what to do with himself. So during that time, I'm putting the one girl on the box of Red Light District. And one day Scott, my art guy, I got him from Scott Taylor from New Sensations. He's doing my box for Red Light, and he brings it in to show it to me to approve it, because it's Red Light, it's not Elegant, right? Mm-hmm. Patrick goes, what do you got there? And I says, oh, it's a cover for Red Light District. I'm going to approve it now. He told Scott, give it to me. He took the thing. He goes, I don't like this. Fuck this. I say, hey, Pat, that's not our deal. And I could understand, even though I gave him half of the company, it's never a good idea unless it's his. And it was coming to an end. And this is right when he fired Vince.
He fired Vince, huh?
Fired Vince.
Vince had 2 movies and he fired him.
Correct. So Vince didn't know what to do with himself. I'm meeting with Vince outside of there, and Vince goes, I don't know what to do. And it's hard to get $10,000 a movie. The only people that can pay you that is Anabolic or Evil Angel.
$10,000 director's fee? That's unbelievable.
He was making $20,000 a month, but nobody else could pay you that. Anabolic could, because they were killing it. Evil Angel wasn't paying you that. You owned your own product at Evil Angel. So there was nobody else that could afford Vince. So Vince was in a fucked up position. So I told Patrick I'm leaving, and how that happens. It didn't do well, and I left. I started Red Light District. I brought Vince with me as a production manager and let him own his own product. I financed all his movies.
You gave him all the money?
All the money. I brought him, everybody, Lexington Steele.
Yeah, let's go down the list, please.
Manuel Ferraro, Steve Holmes. I brought Mike John, Eric Everhart, all those guys that...
Shawn Michaels too, or not?
Shawn Michaels, he lasted about a week. Shawn was a platinum, and Mike Stefano was a platinum. Jewel Denial was a platinum. I own platinum too. All those guys were with me.
So you bring tons of talent over.
Because I'm giving them all ownership, and I'm financing it. How do you not do that, right? So I gave away the farm. Stupid.
You gave that's a lot of money out.
Oh, I'm the stupidest guy ever.
A lot of money to give to just
correct. Me and you both know if we owned 10 McDonald's, we would make a lot of money. But where are you going to get the money to own the 10 McDonald's, right? So these guys own their own product on my checkbook, and
that's wild.
Wild. My own fault. I'm an amazing salesman. I'm a people's person. I'm well liked, but I'm a horrible manager. I'm too kind.
So you kind of did what almost like Death Row did. You take all the talent, right? Similar.
All I'm going to tell you is I left at a perfect time. DVD was booming. It was just on its way to just explode. The internet was evolving. Anabolic they were hard-nosed. Gray was hard on the phones. So all these guys like DVD Empire and Game Link and all the big guys, and no one even understood what VOD was like, was trying to buy Anabolic and Evil Angel on direct, and they were saying, no, go buy it from IVD or go buy it from somebody else.
The VOD? The tapes, I got you.
The DVDs.
DVDs, right.
Right. So people were still putting out old product on DVD at the same time as a new VHS.
Yeah, but let's go back to that point real quick. A lot of people had the belief, right? Mm-hmm. And for years and years, you maybe since you weren't so embedded in the business, the idea, the fear factor, if you don't go through these distributors, they're going to destroy you.
Yeah, and I didn't give a fuck.
Which is not true.
Not true. It's the biggest mistake in the world. So
I wish I would have seen that.
Right. Well, I think you, even though you were in the business longer than me, I was on the business end a little more than you, and I know I gave you a lot of input and I shared a lot with you, because ultimately the goal was to have you at Red Light, and I'm so glad you did your own thing instead. But certain people were scared of you at my company, and they try to fight that. And instead of having you come there owning your own product and beating up somebody, it was better that we just helped you with evasive angles. And thank God we did that, because you did fantastic, and I'm proud of you for that. But so what happened is I got this idea that now the DVDs are exploding, and they're almost outselling VHS, and everybody's putting new content on VHS and old content on DVD. I say, no, I'm putting out VHS and DVD, the new product, simultaneously. I didn't have a library anyways. It didn't matter. So I'm just going to put it all out the same. Every online store is in love with me, because why? I sold them directly. So what does Dion get as a favor? All his product on the front page. So the DVD empires made me famous. Even Jerry from Malcolm, those kind of guys. Jerry would buy $30,000 a week COD from me. These guys made me bigger than ever. There's people saying Paul Fishbein helped make Jules Jordan, but the internet made me big, because everybody loved me and I treated everybody good. And I basically, let's just say I had that coming by the way I treated all these people when I was towards the end of Elegant Angel too. So, I have this. I made more money selling DVDs than I ever sold selling cocaine. That's a true story. People would come up to me. They didn't even know the numbers I was doing. And, nobody was selling what I was selling, and I never told people the truth. They wouldn't believe it,
Tell us. How many, first of all.
I was making, in 2001, I was making.
Because 2000 is when you started? What's the exact?
I basically started Red Light District in 2000, and in 2001 is when it really started hitting home runs. Movie Gallery was just coming around, and I had that account. I had a lot of the big boys, and of course, I shared that with everybody, and it was basically stolen from me. And no one appreciates what you do for them. I was selling 20,000 DVDs a week at the height, and then I was
20,000 at a good price?
$10 was my average. I was cheaper than Anabolic, and I was cheaper than Evil Angel, and even Elegant Angel.
Yeah, I think, between me and you, and I want the people to know that everybody was so set in stone, right, with fairly good quality material, right? Not the cheap shit.
Right.
Not Yosef and
Sunshine.
But so everybody wanted to sell it, especially, Evil Angel really sold it, whatever. There's a whole nother level. Mm-hmm. But they didn't see that a little bit less, right, is going to kill it.
Kill it.
And that's what you capitalized on too, right?
Yes, it's the same concept as when you go into Costco and you see Welch's grape juice for $11 for a bottle, and you see the Kirkland brand that's $7, but it tastes the same. I know me. I buy the Kirkland brand, and I had a good brand. I had good content. I'm not going to say I was. I still think Stagliano was the king, and I still think of Gonzo. He deserves to be called the king. But I would venture to say I was selling more pieces at one for maybe a few years than him.
Really?
Because I was putting out new content on DVD. I was releasing new content on DVD. They weren't. Mm-hmm. They were $16, $17 for a DVD that was old shit. I'm $10 wholesale for new stuff. And I had this whole new way of thinking. And he might have still been making more money than me. He probably was, because he owned everything. Even though he let the directors own their own product, he was replicating their stuff. He controlled their printing. He controlled their foreign rights. And I'm pretty sure John still always made more money than I did in that business, and good for him.
But 20,000 a week, so 80,000 a month, pretty much on average.
Yes, but not counting my foreign. I was doing 100,000. I was probably doing 200,000 a month just in foreign.
That's $1 million a month.
I made $14 million in 2001. I did that for about 3 years.
Well, that's like a dream, right?
But I didn't keep it. I gave it away. I had people that own their product, and so right away they made that, and I gave the farm away. I was a horrible manager, a great salesman, well liked. I gave it all away. I'm partly to blame for not being in the business anymore. I got lazy, and burnt out and didn't evolve with the internet. You remember, I'm the guy that, I was when Colorado Satellite started. I was there when AEBN started, when Hot Movies started. I knew everybody. I started when DVD Empire, all the people that made us rich. I helped them get started. I never took advantage of those relationships. And
Right at the beginning, the right time, right place.
I could have, I should have been owners of like AEBN and Colorado Satellite, and I just had those blinders on. I seen DVDs. I'm making $100,000 a week. I'm like, fuck this. I'll stick with this, and you all can fuck yourself. I don't care how much money you're making. But VOD, man, come on. If we had our own VOD sites back then, how much were those people stealing from us? And
I don't want to think about it. It's too heartbreaking.
Yeah, right. It's heartbreaking. They're still there. We're not. And
so you think that, you got out of prison. I mean, you had great work ethics, but do you ever consider yourself like a 12, 14, 15-hour-a-day guy, or more like an 8-hour-a-day guy?
I don't think I ever worked real hard. I just think that I worked harder than the people at Elegant Angel did because they were spoiled brats.
Or maybe you worked smarter.
I worked smarter. I was there, like I always say, you need a place to hang your hat. If you don't have an office, people don't know where to find you, So I was just there. Yako would call, Yako, he'd cuss you out, and then he'd buy a product from you. You know Yako better than I do. And I love Yako,
I talked to him actually last week.
That's great. Give him my best. Guys like him, I prefer that were assholes on the phone, but their money was good and his heart was right. Instead of that kiss-ass nice guy Tommy or that other fucking piece of shit Jack at
Eastern?
Those
That's
pieces
a
of
cockroach.
shit.
He got me for $40,000.
I know. All them fucking...
I hope in his family burns in hell.
Yeah, all of them are nice to you on the phone, but stab you in the back.
Yeah, dirty.
I rather guys like that, I have nothing bad to say about IBD. I may have cut some deals and gave them pricing that I probably should have never did, but Frank always paid me right, and Frank's an amazing businessman, and
Unbelievable.
And
Frank.
it did good by me. I never had to accept his offers, and I did.
Frank Koretsky, unbelievable.
Yeah. And,
So, this is an important thing. People, I don't know, people sometimes are blinded. They don't see correctly, But you brought all this talent to you, and you gave them action, good action, and you helped sell, at great amounts.
Yeah.
So which gave them great bags full of money.
Right.
I mean, they got big bags of, it would be like gold in those days,
Right.
in the old days.
Right.
So did they ever appreciate it and say, hey, man, Dion, we love you, thank you so much? Or did most of them not? Who did? Who didn't?
I think Mike Stefano really appreciated me. I think Manuel Ferraro appreciated me to this day because I hear it all the time.
Really? Wow.
I think Vince, whatever. I mean, I think Vince, Eric Everhart. I was a little disappointed in Mike John because I really liked Mike John and I thought he was a cool dude. But, there was a lot of things being said, and there was a lot of bullshit going on behind closed doors, and that's a whole other story. So, I understand why some people got upset and others didn't, but I think the most ungrateful of all, in my opinion, was Lexington Steele. He basically just came to me to use me to go do his own thing, and Sean was a cool dude. Sean was always nice to me,
I mean, Sean's cool, yeah.
Yeah, Julie Niles, fuck her. I couldn't stand her. I love Mike Stefano.
Mike Stefano's cool.
I love Brandon Irons. May he rest in peace.
Did he sell pieces? I mean, you made him money too?
I made him money too, but he's kind of like a Max Hardcore to me. I think that their kind of product wasn't what we really wanted to represent. And not that I didn't like them. I just thought they were a little too aggressive. I think you're aggressive, but you're passionate and you're not to the point where you're trying to hurt somebody.
I never wanted to hurt a girl, never tried to hurt a girl.
Yeah, you're aggressive because you wanted an orgasm and cum or whatever.
I want to get the love and juices and everything out of them.
Yeah, but you weren't stepping on their faces and spitting in them, degrading them.
That stuff made me actually disgusted.
Disgusted, and I still am to this day. But I love the people at Philly Films. All the directors I had, all the girls were wonderful, and combat zone, all that. They were good. And
But red light. I guess so. Yeah, all those people. Yeah, a lot of.
Listen,
But the ones you only gave deals to the people at Red Light. You learned your lesson.
I gave deals at Platinum, but Platinum never sold like Red Light. There was never money. The money wasn't made at Platinum. Mike never got rich. Brandon never got rich. David Luger, those guys at Red Light. I learned that I could basically put anybody's name on a box or DVD cover at Red Light and it would sell. But I will say Vince had the best product. Not maybe the content wasn't the best, but he had the best covers.
So the cover sold it, you think?
When it came to Red Light District, like Mike John probably sold the most product when he was there, like no cum dodging allowed. I'm not necessarily thinking his covers were better than Vince's, but something about his names and Mike was a big seller. Everhart wasn't. He was just a Jules Jordan wannabe copycatter. But like Mike John was creative.
Yeah.
Vince, kind of white collar, same motion, same shit every time, but really good box covers, and but I thought the best of them all was Parker, Jake Malone, and
he was working for you.
Yeah, when he got out of prison, he tried Patrick, but that didn't work. He was my most creative guy, and unfortunately, his covers and his steals. You ever notice some of the most creative guys in porn can't take a good picture? Can't. It's dark. I learned that. You get a lot of guys like Pat Mine and like Mike McCormick and Chris Streams. These guys all have beautiful camera work, beautiful stills. Everything's lit well. And I like these guys, but pretty much vanilla, it's all the same. And then you got a girl like a Mason or a Dana Fispoli that they're fucking shit. You can't even see it. It's dark. The stills aren't good, but they're so fucking creative. We're like, most people would have you get a girl in a scene. Most directors would have a girl walk down the stairs. 8 out of 9 times they'd walk down the stairs. Dana might have them crawling down the stairs with a dildo in their ass. Just thinking outside the box. And but I always noticed even I never thought the Evil Angel boxes were so beautiful. I think it was just the content that everybody liked and wanted.
The Evil Angel, on their defense, built up a total iconic brand in the late 80s and the early 90s. So it was already burnt in the people's skull. A lot of people and distributors was just open up every single door to every place.
I can't agree with you more. Anabolic too. And
but I guess kind of, but not like Evil Angel.
Correct. Well, who's here and who's not anymore? Yeah. Greg Dunn and those guys all own Zero Tolerance now with Al's and all them guys. Great salesmen, done very well. God bless them. They worked harder than I did, I guess. But I didn't want to compete against those kind of people anymore, so I do my own thing.
So, but it was a beautiful time, huh?
Nothing better. I love porno. I thank God for porno. It was wonderful.
It's the best, right? The dream of Red Light, right? It was just like a fantasy, right?
Well, how about seeing Sasha Grey, her first day, or
she came to you the
first day when Mark Spiegler brings her to you for the first scene. Sasha Grey or Belladonna with a little space in her tooth. She's almost a virgin still, or Tara Patrick coming to your office for the very first time.
You told me about Tara Patrick said flirted with you a little bit.
She wanted to work with me, and Patrick let her know I wasn't talent, and he cock-blocked me. He told her, no, he's getting married, But seeing.
She was beautiful, huh?
Oh, no better. I used to like the other big Asian girl, Asia Carrera.
She's very pretty.
Yeah.
Sexy.
Seeing her at Elegant Angel.
Good too.
Yeah, and then Brianna Banks when she was Mirage.
Unbelievable.
With that old pervert. I loved him. Reagan
Center. He was the best. I loved him.
Reagan Center, bringing those kind of girls in. And
I had Brianna here a month ago.
I love it. She's killing Bobby, right? They were killing each other.
Oh, God. Wait till you hear the stories on that.
Yeah.
Chopping her finger off, running him over.
And
accidentally.
But when she was Mirage, before the tits were done.
Unreal.
Might be the best looking girl I've ever seen,
Yeah, it was so pretty, right?
Oh.
But the breast, she worked for me, when she was Mirage, like her third or fourth scene. And her her vagina was so fat. It was so perfect, so pretty, so good. I've rarely seen anything that great in my life, and
Oh yeah.
there's a lot I've seen.
I go back to when I started with Jill Kelly was with
Cool, yeah.
I loved her. She was a cool chick, man. All those girls. I got Tiffany Minks. I was never attracted to her, but I drove her at one time to Lake Havasu to do a signing. They must have been a mile-long block to wait just to see her and get a Tiffany Mink butt woman. Had that fucking
She had a butt, yeah.
following that no other woman ever had. There were certain girls that people gravitate to. Tiffany was one of them.
I worked with Tiffany 20 times.
People loved her. I loved her as a person.
She was nice.
Belladonna, she had a following. I remember that crazy girl that worked for us at Elegant Angel, Chloe. She was.
Oh yeah, like big dildos.
Yeah.
The size of trucks.
Oh my God, she was crazy. All those girls, and Roxanne Hall, and all them
English girl, yeah.
Oh, she was unbelievable, and that Taylor Raines, and
She was great.
how about the other cute little one with the dark hair? Everybody loved her. I put her in The Girl Next Door, Jenna Hayes. Their first, when they were brand new.
Yeah. Jenna Hayes and Dana Spoli were fans, I guess, of mine and Peter North or something like this. They both had said something. So when I worked with Jenna, I really gave it to her, smashed her. But
Dana loves it. Dana's a whole different breed.
oh, Dana's special. Yeah.
One of my favorite, and
Cool,
great
nice person.
Great person.
But so who was the best of all those girls, all those time? Pick one for me. One of the best that you thought was the hottest, or the best, or hottest and best.
I mean, one would have to say Monica Sweetheart was pretty nice looking girl. She was a European girl. I mean, I remember Vince had her on the cover of Cum Drippers. That was one of the most beautiful boxes I ever seen. Sold like crazy. Another one that sold like the best seller for me at Combat Zone was The Girl Next Door with Amy Reed.
Amy Reed sold a lot of pieces.
Yeah, they loved her big tits and natural tits, and Belladonna so good. We had a girl that only did like 2 scenes for us. People went crazy for her and used to email me, named Peaches. This girl they went crazy for. We put her in like 2 scenes, and she wasn't even on the cover. And they found her and they loved her. They loved Sasha Grey. Sasha Grey sold like crazy.
Really?
And
Why?
why Bella? Why Sasha?
Well, they both were nasty then, huh?
I mean, there was not much to them. No body. At least Tiffany had that big old butt, and certain girls are just special, and others aren't.
I guess they got something in them, maybe. I don't know. I didn't.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, Bella was real nasty, and Nacho loved her, so something had to be special with her.
Something about her, maybe it was her eyes, or maybe how she was, because they loved her. People were, and I loved her as a person.
She's nice, yeah. She's cool.
Man, she was fucking the best.
Yeah. Who? If you picked them all, was it Tara Patrick because she was so beautiful? Who was it, number one, for you? Jenna Jameson, but she didn't work for you. But
I didn't even know her really. I just know her from you. And we didn't use Tara enough to make a big scene about. God, I don't know. Who was my favorite? I loved Jill Kelly, who had Elegant Angel. I loved, God, what was that girl's name that they loved her? They used to direct a lot of movies for me did a lot of girl stuff at Philly Films. I'm forgetting names already, but I mean, yeah, Tara Patrick was awesome, Monica Sweetheart, like I said, was awesome. I thought Taylor Raine, Jenna Hayes, they were small, petite girls. Maybe not my taste, but I loved them. They were great, And
you like taller model type?
Monica Sweetheart was something to look at. She was stunning. Asia Carrera was a big girl.
Yeah, she's about 5.
Tara Patrick's a tall girl.
No, Tara Patrick's really tall. She was a model, 5'10", 5'11". But so that's your type, more taller, statuesque.
I mean, yeah, I guess if I had to go to Mastro's in Beverly Hills, I'd like to go with Tara Patrick in her prime, wouldn't you?
Well, she wanted me to go.
Oh, wow.
She's beautiful, you know what I mean? But
she was a Randy Spears forever, right?
Yeah, but before she messed with Randy Spears, she was whatever. She liked me, I mean, she's a super nice girl, super cool. She was a fan of me.
Yeah.
She was great, beautiful. I mean, her face, she's the only girl I took pictures of ever, I think.
Yeah.
At every single angle, she was perfect.
Right.
But I can only say good things about her, and
Me too.
just probably I'm shorter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Probably too tall for me, and I like them big fat ones. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I know, but I bet if you walk into a restaurant with her when she was in her prime, and she's dressed up, she's gonna stop a lot of traffic.
Tara Patrick, right? I mean, people gotta know it was so pretty, so pretty. I mean, the skin tone, the hair, just the glow. She was really, really beautiful.
I can't agree with you more.
One of the prettiest girls of all time, for sure, no doubt. I mean, her and the whole presence, she's tall, big tits, everything about her, right?
Right. Amy Reed had those big, beautiful natural tits, but her face was average.
Right.
I mean,
She was average, and I worked with her, and she was cool, but she didn't blow me away.
Yeah.
Brianna Banks' breasts were bigger, and she blew me away.
Right. When Brianna was Mirage, she might have been one of the better looking ones.
She really blew me away. And that's a fact. All the girls I work with, thousands.
Yeah.
She was unreal.
Yeah. What's her name sold like crazy for us at Elegant Angel? I loved her as a person. Stephanie Swift.
She was great. I love Stephanie. She was a cool, wild, kinky, and
she had a tight vagina. I don't know.
It was good. It was nice. Yeah, I broke it. I mean, open. But she definitely liked her sex.
Oh yeah, I loved her. She was nice.
Yeah, we were friendly, real friendly.
I got along good with her.
She was cool. Stephanie Swift.
Yeah.
What's up, Stephanie? Call me up.
Yeah.
TTBoy official Instagram.
Yeah.
So, what directors do you think that in your company? I know that you said which ones sold, but who do you think was the best director for Red Light?
I would have to say Jake Malone.
Jake Malone.
I think he was the most creative, spent the most time, and really gave a shit about what he did. What sold the best was Mike John.
Okay, so kind of he was the best director, but you thought that Jake was better because he's more artistic.
I think Manuel is one of those guys that he's just so damn good looking. Women love him, men love him, everybody loves him. The path was easy for him. It was paved for him. But guys like, if Jake looked like Manuel, he'd be a Steven Spielberg. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think Jake was, even though it didn't sell the best, he to me was the most creative. Dana Fispoli to me was one of the most creative. At Philly Films, I was a big fan of Tanya Tate, and she didn't even hold camera, but she was so professional and got it done, and that is a lot to say about that.
What?
Danny Daniels was another pretty one I liked.
Yeah, I remember a little bit. That's a little bit after
Philly Films
my
days,
time.
yeah, after Red Light, yeah.
But yeah, I think she was pretty, and so was that girl Bree, right?
Bree Olsen.
Brie Olsen, she was sexy, right?
And she sold like crazy. And what's her name really sold like crazy was the blonde with the big ass from Texas, Alexis Tex,
super nice.
Oh, they loved her.
She's great.
She's so nice.
She's so nice, right? She's Puerto Rican.
Oh yeah.
Did you know that?
Wow, that's great.
That's great. She don't look Puerto Rican unless you really look at her closely.
Correct.
She's Puerto Rican, yeah.
Ass, and she's so nice.
She is so nice.
Yeah.
She's so nice. So what happened at Red Light? You want to talk about it?
You know what? Like I said, I made mistakes. I should have did it myself. Had the money, I had the knowledge. This not to pat myself on the back. I am Red Light District. None of those other people were. Vince was looking for a job when I brought him, and my brother knew nothing about porn. I brought him in, and we had a third partner who I should have stayed with because he always did me right, and I always liked him. And unfortunately, I thought I was burnt out, and I wanted to do something else, and I sold out to my brother and our other partner, and I learned quick that was not a good move, and that's how I ended up coming back to Combat Zone and Philly Films.
Yeah, so you took a break for
3 years.
3 years, and we were.
Yeah, and I was still real friendly with you, but I was missing the action, and there's nothing like porn money's like drug money. It's legal. It's fast and quick and a lot of action, and you get to, because I'm a people's person. Nothing better than being in your office and a new girl comes, or a new guy, or whoever it is. It's just that talking to them to learn who they are and where they came from. Did they work at Zaxby's or Chick-fil-A or McDonald's, or I like people, and I like to know the little history about them, and I love you to ask those questions, and and I missed that. I missed the action. I wish I had the knowledge I have now back when I started Red Light District. I wouldn't have gave away the farm. I would have been more like you or like Stagliano, and even though Stagliano owned it, but he had more control. I would have controlled it more like an anabolic. I feel for Chris. I don't think he's doing so great financially that owned anabolic, and I only root for him and hope the best for him. But
Yeah, he's always a nice guy.
yeah, a lot of nice guys get burnt in this business. You know, but this is what happens when you don't protect your business. You let outsiders come and run it for you. No one cares about it like you do. You know, like you had control, and that's why you still own your content.
Yeah.
But, you know, we all knew how I thought, and all I ever wanted to do was sell 1 million DVDs and buy apartment buildings, and, you know, I ended up with some property, so maybe my idea wasn't so stupid.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
You're retired and you don't got to worry about anything.
No, I hoarded it all out to become to be a landlord. But
let's talk about Combat Zone,
Yeah.
because you take a hiatus,
Yeah.
you're getting hungry,
Yeah.
right? Or you're getting bored out of your mind.
Yeah.
You see girls come out of my office,
Yeah.
right? And you're like, what the hell, right?
Right.
Anyways, so you're just totally going crazy, stir crazy, right?
Yeah.
And so you say, let me come to you, I need to start. How long did it take before you said I needed a company?
it was like 3 years when I finally started Combat Zone.
But like 6 months before that or a year before that, you're thinking?
Within a year, I was bored already. And not that I was bored of my wife. I love my wife. It's just that I need action. I need to be around people. And I think I made more money in Combat Zone than I made at Red Light for myself.
Really?
Because I owned everything, you know. And
It didn't even sell anything close to the pieces Red Light.
No. But I kept the money. And then Philly Films, I kept all the money.
That's what the people don't understand, right? I think that people need to understand that you gave away, you didn't give away because, but you helped make these people millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. Come on.
Vince made a lot of money. Mike John made money. Even Everhart and all those guys. But my problems at Red Light with my brother and me, and that's when it all fell apart. And then when I left Red Light, they couldn't maintain.
Yeah, right. It fell apart, huh?
Because none of them knew what they were doing.
Of course, because they didn't know what the hell was going on.
Right.
So you started Combat, and
I was it was probably some of the best times of my life in porn. Even though we didn't make a lot of money, but there was still some money in 2006, 2007. I still, you remember, I told you I was doing okay, and I was selling pieces and getting reorders, but at least I controlled everything. I didn't have to worry about a fucking Lexington Steel or Vince Boyer or Everhart or one of them fuckers asking me, why'd you sell something for that price? Fuck you. You don't even understand what goes on. I do what I got to do,
People don't understand that in the grind of the war zone, that's why you named it Combat Zone, right?
Well, Combat Zone, I used to run every day with a guy named my friend Brian, and he's from Boston. And I was running with him, and I go, I don't know what name to come up with. And he goes, well, I know the name. And he goes, what? And he goes, I'm from Boston. There's a zone called Combat Zone. That's where, like Boylston Street and that's where all the porn and all the, it's like what is that place that the Red Light District is from?
Amsterdam.
Amsterdam. It's like the Amsterdam of Boston. He goes, you already had Red Light District, so Combat Zone's the Red Light District of Boston. So it made sense, and that's how I came up with that name. My friend Brian. Thanks, Brian.
Oh, the guy Brian you run with.
Your friend.
Nice guy, yeah.
You know Brian.
Yeah, he's cool.
When he comes over to the house.
Yeah, nice guy. So people don't understand, Dion. I like, probably the talent, don't understand. And probably a lot of people out there don't understand that it's a war out there in the distribution game.
Delusional.
It's not easy. It wasn't easy.
Delusional. Every asshole in the world would go to Fry's and buy a camera and thought they were going to fucking sell porn. They're delusional. And then they think they make you, that you have nothing to do with it. They're the ones that make you. They have no money. They know nothing, but you're selling pieces because of them. Fuck you. You don't know shit.
And all the games that the distributors, the one-stops and big distributors play on you, returning product that's 3 years old. Give me credit or I will not pay you what I owe you. Like what? Who does business like that?
Correct. Can you imagine if you were a company that your product sucks, where you have no leverage? Me and you had leverage.
Yeah.
I had good stuff. You had the best best ethnic product, better than anybody.
I pioneer black porno.
Right.
I pioneer Latin porno. People got to recognize they don't understand it, but it's a fact.
It's a fact. It rips you off.
You know,
Everybody rips
and
you off.
I had to fight the government, and they just was not friendly. But that's life. Life is, you know, when you get.
I would have been gone a long time ago if I was dealt the cards you were dealt.
Yeah, you know, but you know, I was lucky. I'm still alive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But you know,
thank God.
but you know, it's kind of crazy. Like, you know, you helped make all these agents. I helped make a few of the agents. You know, with for the black girls or white, whatever. I helped make some agents, and then they're going right by my office to the people that are copying my ideas.
Right.
That makes you a little crazy.
Exactly.
Nobody can appreciate it. You have to be in my shoes to appreciate the torment.
Yeah, it's like, not to change the subject, I've been driving my son for 5 years to Orange County 5 times a week for basketball practice. It's easy to talk about it, but when a basketball tournament is in my neighborhood and the whole team from Orange County has to come one weekend, which was last weekend, we played at Kobe Bryant's new gym out there. They all come up to me, God, I have a whole different respect for you now. It's crazy what you go through. We just did it. And this is, once you understand, you know it's not so easy, you know? And
Yeah.
I was not ready for that kind of success, Red Light District. I never had any education. I didn't have education. I was a cocaine dealer. I was a nightclub promoter. I lived a fast life. I don't have education.
But you have a street education, which is great.
Yeah, but I have charisma. I'm well liked, and I'm a people's person, and that's all I am. I would have been better off owning a Red Light District and bringing in like a Sidney Neekert, who I'm not a big fan of, to like run the business for me, and I would still have it today, because you need a hard nose in there. My dad was never in my life. I heard a lot of stories about your dad with you, that hardcore, what he put you through in all them years of, you know, taking a bath in water after him and your brother, and you know, that hose and being scared of trying to be beat to death by your own father. I think he taught you a lot. And I think a lot of your business principles are based on the way your dad raised you. And I think people get love and too much discipline mixed up. He just ultimately probably just loved you and wanted the best for you, and that's the best he knew how to do. And
Yeah, he was. I loved him.
exactly. And you are who you are today because of him, because I know how you do business and do things, and I hear your stories with your father, and I think a lot of your standoffishness and being careful before you sign that on the dotted line is based on the way your dad raised you and treated you. Remember, I didn't have that. I was a good salesman. I was handed this gold and really didn't know what to do with it. You know, I gave it away. Red Light District as a whole is a failure for me. Mm-hmm. You know, how many times in life do you have gold given to you and have opportunities? I've been rich and broke so many fucking times and been handed gold so many times and fucked it up almost every time. Even owning the real estate I own now in other states weren't brilliant business decisions. Only reason why I still have it is, you know, I made money and I bought them. And but where I'm at right now, I'm pretty blessed. So I thank God for where I'm at.
So, yeah, I mean, shit happens so quick, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, just to have money coming in and be alive and healthy, right? You have to think that, because all the history of life, you know, from not our life, but the history of other people's lives, and crazy, you know, countries coming over, taking over, killing everybody, and making them their slaves or whatever. You know, through the history, you know, 1,000 years or 2,000 years, you got to understand that you're lucky if you got both arms, both legs.
Correct.
You're healthy, and you got some money, and you can run around and be free. You're lucky. That's the facts.
Facts.
And you live long.
You live long.
It don't have too much torture.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, because, you know, Hitler and all the genocide that's gone on in the world.
Yeah.
You know, we'll still keep going, I'm sure.
That's right.
You know, anyway, so you got combat zone, but then all of a sudden you say, I'm going to follow a trend because something's trendy right now. I'm going to start Philly Films.
Correct.
Right?
All girl line, yeah.
Tell me about that.
It was basically just the same concept I had with kind of like Red Light District. You got Girlfriend Films, who's got that evil angel kind of anabolic mentality of they control the market and they're demanding a price and they're holding their price. And I like lesbians. I think in porn they seem to be cleaner, and they're prettier. I mean, you got your butchy ones, but I'm talking about the lipstick lesbians and the girls that are real, true lesbians that aren't in porn fucking guys, you know, and are just fucking for money. I just thought it was a little softer and a little pretty, and so I started Philly Films. I was, you know, same concept, try to do natural girls, but you know, when you get into the Mommy and Me and the Seduced by Mommy stuff, those MILFs are, you know, MILF's a big seller, so they're usually got the fake tits and stuff. But yeah, I just basically wanted to keep going, and you know, I didn't. It did better than I thought it would. You know, I think most lesbian companies went out of business, and people actually liked what I was doing. And I mean, people got. I went out after those niches, like the mother and daughter shit, and the stepfather, and this uncle.
I came up with that.
Yeah, you did, right.
But he didn't steal from me because already stolen 1,000 times.
The stepdad and the, you know, all that. It was a niche, and you know me, Phil. We're good friends, and you know, I'm in it for the money. You know, I'm not a pornographer. You're more of a pornographer than I am. You're more obsessed with the girls, and you know, you're a pro at this stuff. I'm just a salesman that got lucky, and porn was just another commodity. It could have been cocaine, marijuana, or apartment buildings, or selling cars or stereos, or driving trucks across the country. It was just another thing I was selling.
Yeah, no, it's a lucky.
Yeah, lucky, right? And
beautiful, but lucky, yeah.
Beautiful, right. And I enjoyed the lesbian stuff because I liked dealing with those people. And I love Tanya Tate. She was my favorite director for Philly Films. She is a woman. She's a professional, and she always had my back and never forgot where she came from, and always, to this day, is grateful for what I did for her, you know?
Really?
But, you know. Like,
she was the best, you're saying?
The most professional.
Most professional.
And
Dana Vespoli was directing for you too, right?
Dana was fantastic.
You had a lot of really high-level lesbian directors, right?
And my concept was I would take the hottest girl out right now that was one of the hottest girl, and I would make deals with them, put them in 2 scenes, and ask them if I could use their name and put them as a director. They'd come up with a little concept. I'd have my camera guy incorporated to their beliefs, and they became the director, and they loved me for it because I gave them something for their resume, something more to empower them. And I want to say that I helped a lot of porn stars better themselves, add more value to their brand of like learning camera and learning how to do a production and how to spend money and how not. So I mean, you got like, I love Darcy Dolce. I love her to death. She has a beautiful natural tit. She's married to what's his name, Mike. But I love her.
Mike who?
Just the guy. Okay. He's not a porn guy, but I loved her. So genuine, sweet girl, and I think she's doing really well. But
it's really nice, you know, to see these girls, you know, or even the actors, you know, that are do well, and they're so nice to you, and they think about you and appreciate you.
Yeah.
You know, that's really nice to feel that.
Yeah, right. I think I can honestly say I was good to porn. I think that as a whole, I gave back, you know, and I think a lot of people did better because of me, and made a lot of good friends in that business and people that I loved doing business with. And I don't think I was a taker. You know, I think I
gave a lot.
Gave a lot. I did. I held my head high, and to this day, I was proud to be in porn. It was great to me.
It was beautiful. So, what are the other names of some of the directors that directed for you? I don't know them. You know what I mean?
At Philly Films.
Yeah.
I had Tanya Tate was my main one. Dana Vespoli, they wanted her in Mile High in Canada, in like Sweetheart Video. My friends from Canada, Ted Blitt and his son Jonathan, they have a great distribution network in Canada, and they are involved with Brain Cash, and they have internet sites, and they wanted her, and they were going to pay her more money. And I told her, I go, look, I'm a stepping stone. You're not going to get rich with me, but we're going to parlay this into something better for you. And these, to this day, I think she's doing fantastic with them, and it's because of me.
Did she ever go to Evil Angel?
I don't know if she ever owned anything over there or didn't, but I'm not so sure that ownership works out anymore with Evil Angel for certain people, and I don't think the numbers are there anymore like it was. But who are some of my directors? I love Darcy Dolce, another one that can't thank me enough, and her stuff sold really well. And Danny Daniels, I loved her, and it was great, but she just one day got up and did her first boy girl for Elegant Angel when I thought I had that coming, because she directed like 11 movies for me, sold like crazy. They love Danny Daniels. But
yeah, she's pretty, I think.
Beautiful, opportunist, kind of like a Lexington Steele or like a Eric Everhard. And you got to understand that some people are just different. She never did me wrong. She just was going to do what was best for Danny Daniels. And I capitalized from her. I was glad I was able to help her name stronger and give her a tool being a director now. And a lot of girls got to work for Penthouse and other companies because of me. But Tanya was my favorite. And but I even had guys doing the lesbian stuff for me, just using the girls' names, you know. So,
what was your favorite part about the business? I already know the answer, but tell me.
The money. Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. I was in it for the money. There's a lot of perks that come with the money of being in porn. But I love the money. I love going. When we did leave or we did travel, like you remember how we'd go to Vegas? We had fun, right?
Yeah.
We had good times.
I stayed up that one time driving way back. You said, how the hell you stay up so late?
Right. Yeah, we used to drive to Vegas. I never went to enough places. I think I'd still be in the business if I would. But
people loved you.
I had other priorities. I had a wife and a kid that I really wanted to be around because I didn't have a dad. But when we did go places, it wasn't me and you. It wasn't about the girls. We enjoyed the people we dealt with. It was nice to be around the guys like a Frank or all these guys. I mean, it was the different people. Jerry from Malcolm and I didn't really enjoy the owners, like the studio owners, as much as I just appreciated the distributors. Is that how you felt?
Yeah, I think who was nice. I thought Kevin was always fairly nice to me. Kevin Beach, you know what I mean?
He was nice, yeah.
Steve Hirsch is always nice.
I love Steve Hirsch, yeah.
And but who comes to mind besides that?
Nobody. Yeah.
Patrick, of course. Yeah, but he has his own thing, but he's always cool.
Right.
Steve Ornstein was kind of, but when I started my own company, I seemed like I was put on the other side.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, because I was part of But,
I got offered when I left Elegant Angel to run Evil Angel. I got that general manager offer. He was going to pay me a lot of money. Most people would have took it, and I didn't, and I started Red Light District. But he was a nice number he offered me to just run Evil Angel.
Yeah.
But
fuck that.
I gambled, and I started my own thing.
Yeah, it's way better. You can't work for you. You're not the guy to work for people.
No,
I'm not the guy. I don't want to work for people.
I don't wear suits, and I don't come in on time, so I'd rather be at my cell phone at the gym and making a deal. If I'm selling DVDs, it don't matter where I'm at, Yeah. My phone rings everywhere.
What'd you think of AVN?
It's
the awards and the magazine itself.
It's all bullshit. It's all whoever's advertising the most wins the awards. That's it. So, I like Paul. Paul was nice, but I think he's a sellout. Whoever's putting more money in his pockets is his new buddy. But he wouldn't like me for what I just said because we always got along. We're friends, but fuck AVN. Don't mean shit to me.
What about the agents? What agents did you think were good? And who did you like?
I love Jim South. Jim South's one of my favorites.
You see that board?
Yeah.
That board is from Jim South.
I love it. That's awesome. I love Jim. He was genuine. He was kind of like me, too nice for the business, was taken advantage of, and should have been a wealthy man today because so many people did scenes behind his back, and he never seen his commissions and his agent fees. And he's the nicest human being. Reagan was real creepy, but I like Reagan.
I like Reagan.
I love a lot of the little pimps probably came through you that you AJ,
Brian,
Antonio, all the guys that you found that I met through you. I enjoyed those guys because it was a whole new and different environment where certain people wouldn't even deal with, but me and you would. But people don't understand. You get hot girls from those kind of guys, and I love those kind of guys. Derek from Direct, no comment. Who else was another big one?
Well, you have Mark Spiegler,
Spiegler's cool. He was always good with me. I like
intelligent guy. I
Yeah,
think.
intelligent guy, always nice to me. But who was the other guy?
Mark Spiegler was here like 2 weeks ago,
Yeah,
and he had some things to say that blew my mind.
yeah, I'm sure.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. And I remember when I was at Elegant Angel. What was that guy's name that had those girls, like Nikki Sterling and all them? Who was that? Reagan.
No. He had Chasey Lane.
Yeah, who was that guy?
He was like a country.
Yeah, right. Whatever happened to those guys? They were always cool.
Yeah, he was nice. Yeah, what the hell?
I like Brian and them guys from Florida. But I have to say my favorite's Jim South. I just love Jim South.
Yeah, Jim South was the best, but Spiegler and for me, it's only Jim South.
Right.
So, but there were some good agents.
Right.
And it was fun. It was
Beautiful.
So, who didn't you like in the business?
Like as an agent.
All the way around. No, everybody. Any facet of the business. Who didn't you like?
I didn't like the distributors that didn't pay, all full of shit, didn't pay you. I hate the crooks, like the tube sites that stole your content and didn't pay you for it and put us out of business.
Well, that's terrible people.
Terrible people. I like majority of the talent. I like majority of everybody else. There's a lot of names we've talked about tonight I'll never see again, never speak to, but you take them with a grain of salt. But I don't hate anybody. I hate the tube sites and I hate that people didn't pay. It's just not fair that someone could take our content, steal it, and put it up and profit from our work. I hate those people.
It's unreal.
I hope, I used to pray that someone would crash a plane into those Brazzers and those Manwins and those tube sites building. Seriously, I hated them. They destroyed Manwin. They destroyed us.
You think you hate them worse than me? I don't know. I got 20 years of all kinds of crazy situations and just shredded my company.
And they forced everybody. They fucked everybody. Stole everything of theirs and forced them into stealing with them.
Forced into slavery.
Look at Pornhub. That's all that is.
Yeah.
They put you out of business and everybody's in bed with them now.
I don't think people understand. But it's just like I said earlier, all the tyranny, or the genocide is like a big conglomerate comes over, takes your people, makes them slaves, takes the men, kills some of them, makes the women your bitches, and then make you a slave or you die.
Correct.
That's pretty much what's the difference.
What's the difference?
I don't see any difference.
I know they're all rich from it. I don't find them as good business people. I think they're just a bunch of crooks.
Oh, it's slimy. But what would you do to change the business, to make it better, if you could? You kind of just answered it, but...
yeah, of course.
Anything else besides eliminating the tube sites?
Yeah, eliminate the tube sites. And there was just too many people shooting. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry can go to Fry's and buy a camera and shoot product, and next thing you know, they're selling it. I don't know, maybe to see less content and a little more quality than quantity, and people hold their price, and all the studio owners maybe meet once a month and you all keep a price and all respect each other. And too much backstabbing from studio owners, and they ruined it. A lot of people that undercut everybody else ruined it for a lot of people that did have some what is that word I'm looking for? Had a little bit of
integrity,
yeah.
And strength.
Yeah,
sometimes you got to fight through the battle of, I'm getting at this price. Well, what can I say? You know what I mean?
Exactly. I take generic drugs. I take, blood pressure medicine and cholesterol. I take generic. There's people are going to buy generic.
But when it comes to porno, right? I believe, because I came up with a lot of creative ideas and focused hard on the camera work and paying attention to it, that there's a difference.
Yeah.
If you're a person watching it, if it's not shot the way you like it, there's no way, hell, you can masturbate to it the way you're supposed to compared to the stuff that is shot correctly.
Correct, but unfortunately, there's so much product coming out, it gets lost.
Yeah.
There's a lot of product that's better than another product, but if the box or the DVD cover is not as good as the one next to it, you're your great content may not be seen
Yeah. Well,
because it gets lost in the mix.
could you, describe your experience in the business in 2 words?
It was wonderful,
Was wonderful.
Yeah. How could it not? It gave me a great life.
It's a dream, right?
Dream, and I never had a hard day in my life. It was easy.
It's like,
I did it on my terms.
yeah,
Tony Montana.
no, no, the guy, Blue Eyes.
Yeah, Frank Sinatra.
Frank Sinatra said, right?
Yeah.
We'll do it my way, right?
I did it my way. As Michael Jordan says, find one great thing and master it and get paid for it. We were rock stars, right?
So I had the dream of a lifetime.
Yeah, you made so much money and fucked how many girls?
Yeah, at least probably 12,000.
And pretty nice looking ones. So
Yeah, it was unbelievable. Who were the good performers, the male performers that you thought were good?
I think you was one of my favorite. Not because you're my friend, but I think Mark Davis, Rocco, Nacho. Mark Wallace was pretty good,
Mark Wallace was very good.
Didn't have the biggest dick in the world, but he was good at what he did.
Very good.
Manuel, the girls love him, and he's very passionate. He's like Nacho. The girl you make him feel like they're the only girl in the world. There's certain people that have that charisma, But those are probably the best ones for me, That's the ones I always try to hire. I'm probably leaving out a couple, but Stefano, I love Stefano. He got the work done. He was
Nice guy, yeah.
Nice guy. He was good looking too. He was one of my favorite. Brandon Irons had a big dick, but I just didn't always agree to what he was doing. I like the nice-looking guys. It doesn't mean you're a faggot because you want to hire a guy because he's good-looking. Because I look at it like this. When a man and woman are laying in bed at night watching porn, you're looking at a beautiful girl. Why shouldn't your wife look at a handsome man? It's pretty simple math.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it could be repulsive for somebody.
Yeah, Ron Jeremy, he's probably a great performer, but he's not the best on your eyes, I could see where the girls liked Tom Byron when he was young. He looked like a little innocent kid.
And a good performer.
Good performer. Vince was a nice-looking guy, but, pretty vanilla to me.
He didn't have any
Fuck no.
passion.
No, Everhart just tried to hurt the girls, Fuck him, I hate him.
Really?
Yeah, fuck him. I don't got no love for that guy,
Well, we're out of the porno, but we want to talk about a couple little trending things, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Unless you got to go.
No, go ahead.
Okay. So, because you're political a little bit.
Yeah.
You're watching the debates, right? Who do you want? Who's going to win? Who do you want to win, and why?
It's interesting because being from porn and selling cocaine when I was younger and didn't give a shit. It was the money and think marijuana should be legal and believe in abortion. You would think I'm a real liberal person. I'm more of an independent. I think I have a lot of liberal thoughts, but I think the left is just to the extreme. They went way too far left, and so what's that old saying? You're born a Democrat, you die a Republican, because you see the writing on the wall, and I liked. If I had to vote for a Democrat, I like this girl from Hawaii. She's got some conservative thinking ways, and she's more independent. But there's nobody on the left that I will vote for. I'm going to vote for Donald Trump. And love him or hate him, I'm not his biggest fan as a person. I feel safer with him. And I know a lot of people don't, but I think he truly loves our country. And I don't really think he's a hardcore Republican. Probably deep down, I think he has no problem with abortion. But they got to keep the Christians happy. As a whole, the right has went too far right, and the left has went too far left. And so I'm in the middle. And for now, until you give me somebody that's better than Donald Trump, I'm going to have to vote for him. I don't like what I see on the left. Only girl, I like that. What's her name? From Hawaii, Gearbard. I forget her name because I don't watch CNN. I watch Fox, so I don't really know much about her. But what I do see of her, I like. But will I vote for her? No. You know.
Okay. I mean,
I don't like what's going on in this world. You know.
no, it seems very to me a lot less personal.
A lot less personal. People don't care about each other anymore. There's no more love. People are scandalous. It's all about me, and there's just too much violence and hate and dividing. It's not there anymore. The love's gone, and I think the world has been divided. I voted for Obama twice, but I think after 2 terms of him, I think after seeing what he did, I thought he was the biggest race divider ever. That's how I feel,
Yeah. But I didn't like the money being flown around, to other countries.
Yeah.
I like all of the Americans to prosper.
Prosper.
I like all of us to prosper. We're number one. It's our country. We want to prosper.
Yeah. The left talks about socialism, and the rich are the assholes, tax the rich. Every one of these people on the left that are running for president are filthy rich.
Yeah. They don't have to worry anymore.
Yeah, they're filthy rich, at the expense of the little man. Fuck them.
What do you think of the new governor's, Gavin Newsom's policies?
I hate the guy. It's the worst governor I think we ever had. Worse than Jerry Brown. Look at the gas prices in California. In other states, it's low. Why? Look at the homeless in the state. Look at the poverty in the state. What have they done for the blacks? What have the Democrats done for the blacks? They talk about helping everybody. What are they doing for Chicago? Fuck them. They're liars, hypocrites.
But this guy, he's already implemented new ideas, right?
Yes. Look at what the homeless. Look at 65,000 in LA alone.
How are we gonna afford all these ideas?
California's doomed. We're in big trouble. The wealthy are leaving. The people that have money are leaving. People that have corporations, businesses are going somewhere else where it's more tax friendly.
Hey, this breaks your heart, kind of.
Breaks your heart. I love this state. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. So many things to do. So many beautiful sights to see.
Correct.
It's such a great climate. I mean, California, Southern California is just like that song says. It never rains in Southern California.
Yeah.
I can't sing it worth a shit. You know what I mean? But sing a tune, they say. But any predictions on the Super Bowl?
I'm a 49er fan. We had a good start. We're 6-0, but I don't think they've played anybody great. So I'm thinking you can't bet against Tom Brady, even though he's 42 years old. He's looking great. If Patrick Mahomes is healthy from Kansas City, he has a good shot. Drew Brees is coming back. The Saints look good. If I was a betting man, I would say either the New England Patriots or Kansas City come out of the AFC, and probably the Saints or the 49ers out of the NFC. If the 49ers are really as good as their defense seems to be, we'll see.
You're a huge football fan.
I love football. Love the 49ers.
Number one, you like it more than fighting sports?
Oh, yeah. I love football.
Not even close?
Not even close.
You just do the fighting sports because it's something to watch?
Something to watch, but I love it.
You don't love it like I love it.
No, I love football.
We go to fights.
I love basketball, too.
We went to a lot of fights together.
Yeah.
We saw Cotto versus Margarito.
Yeah.
Remember when he had the concrete in his gloves?
Winky Wright.
Trinidad,
Winky Wright. De La Hoya.
De La Hoya, Mayweather.
Yeah, we've seen everybody.
Yeah, we saw a lot.
We were supposed to see Mayweather and what's that Englishman Ricky Haddon. We showed up late, remember?
Oh, yeah. That sucked.
Yeah. He spent all that money on those seats, and we showed up late.
That's not good. Mm-hmm. And so, I don't know. What's the future for you?
I'm 57, I'm retired. I'm building apartment buildings. I'm in the real estate business now, and I'm a full-time dad, and I take my son all over the place, and I have a wife, and I like to be a little more busier, but I'm going to just take it one day at a time, just be grateful for what I have and not worry about what I don't have,
Yeah, I think I got to think that way too.
Yeah, that's the way that's the future for us.
We just found out, this is current right now, we just found out that Nate Diaz canceled the fight or something against George Visadol.
When is it supposed to be?
It's supposed to be November 2nd.
Oh, wow.
Why'd you do that?
Why'd you do that?
We want to know. Did you get scared of him or what? I don't know, man.
Wow.
Why? Because of shit talking? Come on, man. We want to see that fight.
Yes, sir.
That's all. Oh, hold on.
Yeah.
Because since we're talking about fights, Canelo versus
The Russian.
the Russian. What the hell? Kovalev.
Yeah. I think Canelo's a better fighter, but maybe a little too small for him.
That's a rough fight.
Yeah, rough fight.
Canelo's got big balls.
Yeah, but too big for him.
Too big.
Maybe not as good as fighter. Maybe outpoints him at the best.
Really?
He's not knocking him out,
No? Probably not, huh?
but he might outpoint him.
He's a big dude.
Yeah.
Kovalev's a big dude.
Big cat.
That's scary, man. Hats off to Canelo, man. You're
Got big balls.
got big cojones, man. That's crazy. So this is the end of the Dion Giarrusso interview, and he's, gracious enough to spend all this time with me, and I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So thanks.
You're welcome.
Thanks
You're welcome.
for coming. And TTBoy TV out.